arrived. The Santa Cruz City Council meeting will come to order, and the clerk will be kind enough to call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Triguero is absent today. Brunner?
Present.
Newsom?
Present.
Councilmember Golder will be here later. O'Hara?
Here.
Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson will be logging in later, and Mayor Cooley.
Present, and we have established a quorum. We are on statement of disqualifications. Any member have a statement they wish to make at this time? Seeing and hearing none, we are on public comment on our closed session agenda. For those of you unfamiliar, we have both open session and closed session. Closed session is where we take up matters of litigation and personnel. We have some items on our agenda today. This would be the opportunity for anyone to address us on oral communications on our closed session. Anyone with us in chambers wish to do so? I do not see anyone wishing to do so. Do we have anyone online?
We do not, no.
We do not. We will, at this point, adjourn into closed session. For those of you who wonder what time we may be back out of that, I'm going to estimate that we should be in closed session probably not longer than half an hour or so. But we will return to open session at this point. We stand adjourned to closed session. 10:30 having arrived and the City Council having completed its business in closed session, we will return to open session. And in order to establish quorum, the clerk will call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Triguero is absent today. Councilmembers Brunner?
Present.
Newsom?
Present.
Councilmember Golder will be here later. Councilmember O'Hara?
Here.
Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson?
Present.
And Mayor Cooley.
Here. Quorum having been established, we will move on to oral communication. For those of you who might be unfamiliar, this would be the opportunity to address the City Council on a matter under our jurisdiction, but not on today's agenda, for a period of time not to exceed 2 minutes. In the event that we have both folks that are online who wish to and folks who are in chambers, we will toggle back and forth. Good morning and welcome to the City Council chamber.
Good morning. My name is Kevin Cummings, and 33-year resident of Santa Cruz. And I'm here today. I come mostly because I'm a fan of live theater, especially when it involves an engaging cast of characters. So, and that's all I have to say today. And although as the mayor got the times mixed up, I generally prefer the matinee time myself.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. Do we have anyone online with their hand up? We'll take the person online, then we'll be right with you, Mr. Ewing. Person online, good morning. Welcome to the Santa Cruz City Council meeting.
Yes, hello. Hey, I was going to read a speech excoriating your many actions which show your distaste and disrespect and destructive socialist agenda against private property ownership and the unethical and extra means legal means used in promoting your socialist agenda via the faux citizens initiative known as the Workforce Solutions Housing Act, but that can wait. Instead, I would draw your attention to the deja vu Mexican BLM-style riots in LA and the probably not coincidental repainting of the BLM mural and the horribly mistaken sanctuary city status here. Almost unimaginable harm and damage came from the BLM movement with no real benefit, and it's time you acknowledge that and give up on the defective BLM false narrative. The real problem question is, why are Black people the wildly disproportionate demographic perpetrators of violent crime that requires so much police attention? Of course, we can't talk about that, can we? That'd be racist. While the failure to enforce immigration laws and the allowance of an illegal invasion of our country under Biden was an unforgivably mistaken treason, enforcing those laws is not. Masked illegals gleefully and hatefully burning cars, assaulting police, chanting Antifa slogans, blocking freeways, and looting while wearing kiefkas or waving Mexican flags is the very reason Trump got elected by a strong majority. That reason is those are enemies of the United States that seek chaos while invading and destroying. The message of the mysteriously funded group Indivisible here is at its core the very same: insurrection and obstruction of America. They have no plan B. There is zero justification to violate the laws of the United States. Those are criminal acts. And now the many of the 10 million of Biden's illegals are showing their true violent nature while glorifying their true allegiance to their native armpit countries that they never made so great by waving those foreign flags that strangely they also don't want to go back to, while blood-sucking America's generosity from fools, probably just like you. Overwhelming enforcement of law is the only proper response. Thanks.
Wow, my equipment's overloaded. I don't know what I could say to that. There is some accuracy, but there's a lot of inaccuracy in there. I'm just going to read a quote. This happened June 8th, 1967. I don't care if the ship sinks and every man on board drowns. We are not going to embarrass Israel. President Lyndon Johnson during the attack on the U.S. liberty by the state of Israel. You know, there's lots of interesting things to say with some comedy. Got a bunch of silver coins here, a bunch born. A couple from 1884 when Robert Minor was born. Some people say, Mr. Keeley, that you're the reincarnate of Robert Minor. But in brevity, you know, all laws which are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void. Mulberry versus Madison in 1803. So, you know, I had greatly questioned the Black Lives Matter. You know, when the Silicon Valley Bank went bankrupt, apparently the Black Lives Matter organization laundered over $82 billion. I really questioned the Planned Parenthood. But what we have now is another cyclic situation. Apparently, this Saturday in hundreds of locations, we're going to have some kind of demonstrations and looking at the stuff going on in LA with the destruction. And that happened 5 years ago after, I can't remember the guy's name, but 33 out of those 37 cities were locations where there were Federal Reserve banks. And those businesses were destroyed. They were mostly black and brown peoples, and those properties were bought for pennies on the dollar. So what's going on? I mean, why is law enforcement being told to stand down by parasites, murder puppets like Carlos Palacios and Jason Heath? It's okay. Said that to their faces this morning. I've already published it. I'll continue later.
Thank you. Anyone else online? We'll take the next person online. Good morning. Welcome to the City Council meeting. 3, 2, 1. Good morning,
Hello.
sir. Welcome.
Hello.
No, I'm
Hi.
not holding on.
Hello.
No. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Ken Pear. I'm the president of the SEIU 521 City of Santa Cruz chapter. Here today to address you on behalf of my members. And we're looking for contract negotiations to start tomorrow. And we're looking forward to hopefully some plain dealing from the city side and get this wrapped up for your return in August, I believe it is. But that's our hopes, and please, if you leave the HR with enough latitude, I think we can manage that. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you and your members for all of your good work every day for our community and the citizens of our community, residents of our community. Thank you, Ken. Person online. Good morning. Welcome to the City Council meeting. 3, 2.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
You got to pick this up a little
Hello?
quicker. Are you
Can you hear
on?
me?
Do you wish to testify? Please proceed. If you don't, hang up.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
We could hear you every
Hello?
one of those times.
All right. Hello, Mayor Keeley and council members. I'm Kevin Norton. I have a background in public health.
I'm asking you to invest in neighborhood associations, block parties, and micro grants for community engagement as it's being done in a few other forward-thinking cities. 0 neighborhood associations currently meet in person in Santa Cruz. Neighborhood social connections are in decline in Santa Cruz, and they are in decline almost everywhere in the U.S. In the past, I've told you about the surprisingly bad mental health problems we have in our community, but there's another reason why I think you should make this investment in community building. It's resilience. Communities with more social capital bounce back faster during hard times, especially the social bonds between the families and institutions, those that happen in neighborhoods. These social networks would provide information, aid, financial resources, crime deterrence, and childcare, along with emotional and psychological support. They would also be an informal job board. The neighborhood associations could be in regular contact with city staff and council members, helping you to provide services and use your resources more efficiently. And they would make people happier. This is all proven by research, but again, tragically, these neighborhood networks are disappearing. Let's not wait for a disaster to happen. I'm worried about the mental health problems I see in the public health data, and I'm also worried that we're not ready for what's going to happen during the next few years. The original safety net can be rebuilt. I applaud all of you council members for your hard work and dedication. Times are changing though, and I humbly ask you to invest in community building and create a team Santa Cruz. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Good morning. My name is Odessa. I work at the downtown Santa Cruz Public Library just across the street from here. One of the guiding ideals of any public library is freedom of access to information and resources, which I and my colleagues passionately support. However, because of this, being in the library on a daily basis also gives us a unique window into the ways in which our community's needs are not being met. That is to say, many of our patrons are unhoused and underserved. They have needs that go far beyond the scope of what we as a library can provide, yet they come to us because they cannot get any of their needs met anywhere else. We provide access to electricity, the internet, bathrooms, clean drinking water, and just a place to be during the day. Because again, there are so few other places to get help, we also often have to act as social workers, helping people find food or shelter, acting as counselors, therapists. Because these patients are so often traumatized by their circumstances, and because we are many people's only access to these vital resources, small interactions can escalate into extreme aggression and sometimes physical violence. And in the past several months, the frequency of violent incidents has risen noticeably. We love serving our community, but the scope of need has gone so far beyond what a library is capable of providing, and we are struggling. We need more places downtown and citywide that offer these same basic resources that we do, freely and easily. We need more social services so that people can stay alive and get access to help without these needs falling on the shoulders of library staff. I would suggest creating some kind of social resource center downtown to provide these resources and meet these needs, and there are certainly enough vacant buildings downtown. And finally, we need better support from the city for the libraries to address these issues and help our staff who are suffering from trauma and burnout as a result. Some of my colleagues are also here to share their stories and perspectives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Good morning. I have worked at the downtown library branch as a library assistant for a little over a year and a half, and I would like to share with you all some of the recent incidents I have been involved in over the last few months. I am hoping these incidents will help you understand what my coworker meant when they spoke of the rise in the frequency of violent incidents. On March 14th, I asked a patron to leave the library after he refused to clean up a mess he left at a table. His response was to scream at me and call me the B word, a snitch, and a fat effing pig, while surrounding patrons laughed. He then attempted to spit a mouthful of chewed up sandwich at me that I was luckily able to dodge. On April 17th, a patron grabbed my breast after he asked me for my assistance with picking up some cough drops he had spilled on the ground. Finally, on May 2nd, I was physically assaulted by a patron who had been recently suspended from the library for saying, "I'm gonna murder all of y'all," while threatening to burn down the library after being asked not to make obscene gestures at another female patron. I was walking to work when I unknowingly passed this individual less than a block away from the staff entrance of the building. His response was to punch me hard in the back and scream sexually vulgar threats at me and obscenities while threatening to kill me. Following the final incident, I asked to meet with the members of library management to discuss what had happened. During this meeting, it was suggested that I take an online course on setting boundaries in the workplace, which I had already completed. Management then floated the idea amongst themselves of providing women's self-defense classes. Finally, they stated that safety was an ongoing discussion and asked if I had any ideas to improve safety in the workplace. I don't have any ideas. I'm tired and I am traumatized. I'm just focusing on being a good library assistant while saving enough energy to take care of myself at the end of the day. I don't have solutions for these complex societal issues, and I don't think I am being provided adequate coping mechanisms and compensation to do the job I am expected to do now. I'm not a social worker and I'm not even a librarian. That's why I'm here. I'm asking you for help. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the council meeting.
Hello, my name is Arden and I work at the Felton branch of the Santa Cruz Public Libraries. Me and my fellow coworkers who have spoken here today are library assistant 2s. Our job on paper is to be desk staff and keep the regular operations of the library running. We are the lowest paid permanent workers in the Santa Cruz library system. We are not librarians, we are not social workers, we are not security, but we are expected to and have to be all of the above and more with the way the library currently functions. The solution here is complex, but also very simple. Fund social services and protect library workers. In my year and a half at Felton, I have seen and experienced some awful things, as you have heard and can expect when you are the only and last resort for some of the most vulnerable and traumatized members of our community. My very first week, I had a man threaten to kidnap me. I have been so brutally sexually harassed that I've had to call the police. My coworkers have been stalked. I've been exposed to infectious disease and blood. We have had local community resource centers send people to our library sobbing, saying they can help you better at the library. We can't. I've spent time trying to help people track down their belongings after being released from the hospital, help someone breaking down access a phone, find a place to sleep, etc. Again, we are not social workers. We do our best with the limited services we have, and sometimes when we cannot help someone or we need to ask them to leave, they get extremely upset. They attack us verbally and physically. This phenomenon is not unique to Santa Cruz libraries, but the lack of response is. Us workers are left to fend for ourselves, made to shrug off what are often race-based and gender-based violence to ensure the library stays open. The city needs to fund social services and protect library workers first, and the city needs to support SCPL management in creating and maintaining a way for us to receive proper care after something traumatic happens.
Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the council meeting.
Morning. My name is Thais Hogarth, and I also work at the Felton Library branch. As my colleagues have all stated, the libraries are currently an integral space for the community. We are a third space, a safe space, and as summer comes, a cooling space from the incoming heat. And we are also serve as an important space in that we are one of the few places where you can exist without expectation of purchasing a product or being asked to leave for violating the aesthetic of the city that tries to present. We need more help in terms of social services. As time goes on and cost of living increases, library resources are going to be more integral than ever. We ask the city council that they work with us and providing city services for the public, because as time goes on, our community will need it more and more. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Anyone else wish to address the city council under oral communication? This would be your opportunity to do so. Good morning. Welcome to the city council meeting. Morning.
Good morning, and thank you for your timeliness in helping us get the word out on the Three Princes Serve Point. I know you've heard an awful lot about this, and I think last time I ended with a statement regarding the cause of my mother's death. I know it sounds a little strange to make an analogy here, but that's exactly what I bring it to, because I didn't scream loud enough. And we're about to see the end, yes, the end of the Three Princes Serve Point, as you, as the city council, have adopted it in 2016. In 2016, one of the three resolutions which I wrote for the city council or for council and supervisors. In that year, Cynthia Matthews signed the resolution which says we want access to the point. Not only that, but we also want an overlook at the point with easy, durable walkway. Now, what the state has done is they stopped that as well as they can. I'll explain that by saying, at this point, the state wants to have a 5-foot wall right here. So this walkway is out of the state's plan. I think the city council, this is a city park. I think the city council should really take a stand. And that's why I presented you with a resolution wishfully that you would consider, maybe modifying considerably, and make it even stronger. Because all I really say is, let's get rid of the 10 steps and make it a nice, gentle slope. That's what that resolution says. Now, because of what the state is doing, literally, this week, we can just tear this up. And these guys who really would love to pay for this project, and I mean it, I've got $2 million sitting right here that you don't have to spend. I can make this happen. This is some important people in our community who are being ignored and left behind. Now, not only that, but this is international fame as far as surfers in the world. The person who brought the Olympics surfing into the Olympics, I say I've got 4 seconds left. So those guys are gone, and this is what you're going to end up with. This is what you end up with, 10 steps to a 5-foot high wall. Please take a hard look at that resolution. It's the 3rd resolution I've written, and I think it should be seriously considered. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else under oral communication?
I love you all.
Anyone else under oral communication? Good theater. Seeing here none, we are on.
Mayor, sorry, I do have someone online.
We have someone online. We'll take that person online. Good afternoon, person, or excuse me, good morning, person online. Welcome to the council meeting.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, council. Thank you for having me today. I just wanted to echo what the librarian staff were talking about. My name is Athena. I spend so much time at the library, in the library parking lot and downtown, and these librarians work so damn hard. They are taking on much more than they are being paid for because of the city's lack of services. There is not enough places to be allowed to exist for free in public in city of Santa Cruz. There is not bathrooms, there is not water available. The downtown reimbursement, the downtown refurbishing completely removed all of the water fountains downtown. That was a despicable act against the people of Santa Cruz that you guys all agreed last year to remove all of the downtown water fountains. On top of that, there's not places to charge and there's not places to use the bathroom publicly. These facts make it so that people end up at the library much more than the library can handle. The fact that the only other free space you can be during the day is MHCAN, Mental Health Client Action Network, and the county today is voting on defunding that entire setup. There is not enough free places to exist. This city is anti-human in a way because we aren't allowed to just exist for free. We need more services. We need free places with services and conflict resolution and access to help, because the library is working overtime and carrying the entire weight of the city's job to do social services for our community, and the library is doing the whole damn job. Thank you to the librarians. Thank you for speaking today. You guys are the best.
Thank you.
Anyone else on oral communication? Have you already spoken?
Yeah, I have.
Anyone else on oral communication? We are finished with oral communication. We are on item number 2. This is a Hans Christian Andersen Awards presentation. We have Ms. Barton, Ms. Tunser, and others to be making presentations.
Mayor, that one is later in the afternoon.
We're going to do it in the afternoon? Very good, thank you. We're going to do the other one in the afternoon on junior guards. We're going to do the other one on City Serve in the afternoon. Presiding officer announcements. Item 33 on our regular agenda will be heard occurred prior to item 32. And the reason for that is that item 32 is likely to take some time, shall we say. And so we can, rather than having everybody on item 33 have to wait an extended period of time, when we get to the regular agenda later in the day, that is a notice to people. Statement of disqualification. Any member have a statement of disqualification? Councilmember Bruner.
Mayor, I have a statement of disqualification for agenda item 27, Downtown Association. Agenda item 28, Cooperative Retail Management Business, Real Property Improvement. And agenda item number 34, Economic Development Strategy Vibrancy Ordinance as it relates to my employment.
Very good. Thank you, Councilmember. Anyone else? Madam Vice Mayor, any statement of disqualification? Thank you,
I do not.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. We're on additions and deletions to the agenda. Ms. Bush, do we have any?
We do. Agenda items 12, 13, and 14, which are on the consent calendar, are continued until the meeting of the 24th.
Mr. City Attorney, any additions to deletions to the agenda? Okay, so everyone is clear. If you are here on items 12, 13, and 14, those are continued to our last meeting in the month on June the 24th. City Attorney, any reports in closed session?
Yes. Good morning, Mayor Keeley, members of the council. There were 4 liability claims on this morning's closed session agenda. Those are the claims of a Jean Samari, CSAA Insurance Group, claim of William H. Hartley Jr., and the claim of Mariela Manera Solorio. Those are also listed this afternoon on your consent calendar as agenda item number 16 for council action. There was no reportable action.
Very good. Thank you. Council meeting calendar, Ms. Bush, anything you would like to bring to our attention on that?
No changes.
Very good. We are on the consent agenda. For those of you that might not be familiar with it, we will be taking up items 6 through 26 concurrently, all at one time. This would be the opportunity, however, for members of the council and then members of the public to either pull an item, comment on an item, or raise a question on an item. If you do any of those things, you will have a period of time up to 3 minutes total to make your comments, whether that's on one item or 8 items. You have a 3-minute period of time. I'm going to start on my left with Councilmember O'Hara. Councilmember O'Hara, on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. No items to pull. I do have a couple comments.
Please proceed.
On item 15, the offshore drilling resolution and letter of opposition, I just want to thank my colleagues for bringing this forward. As we all know, with new federal proposals threatening renewed offshore drilling, it's critical we reaffirm our longstanding opposition, and I fully support this resolution and really do appreciate it coming forward. For 18, 19, 20, and 21, that is the Civic Auditorium Handrail Project, the award for contract for the 800 West Cliff Road realignment, contract renewal with Hope Services, and the energy efficiency improvement projects. Just want to thank staff for bringing all of these forward, how quickly they move forward, and how representative they are of the incredible work that we do day in and day out. Just taking those 4 as a collective really does give a sense of how much we're engaging with the community through Hope Services, the incredibly important work of climate resiliency on West Cliff, making sure that we have an accessible civic auditorium for our community, and the energy efficiency projects, particularly in District 5. I just really appreciate those moving forward. And then lastly, on item 26, the Fisheries Monitoring and Non-Flow Conservation Fund. I see staff here today. I just want to share my appreciation and commend staff at the Water Department for their outstanding work and long-term dedication, and I mean long-term dedication to this effort. These projects are critical not only for protecting endangered species and restoring habitat, but also ensuring the long-term sustainability of our water supply. So this is a great example of proactive, science-driven stewardship, and I just wanted to express my appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Newsom on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick comment on item number 18. Just want to thank staff and Director Elliott for bringing this forward. This handrail project, I think, was one of the, moving forward with this handrail project was one of the first items I think I voted for on council and making the Civic a more accessible place for the community. So really happy we're at this point and happy to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Brunner on the consent agenda.
Thank you. I have comments on agenda item 10, 18, and 26.
Please proceed.
Agenda item 10 is the Commission for the Prevention of Violence Against Women and Santa Cruz Police Department 2024 Joint Annual Report. And I just want to thank this volunteer advisory body who has been working on initiatives in our community in partnerships with organizations such as Monarch Services and really working to ensure a culture of safety in our community. And in reading the report, if anybody has not read through, I think it's important to really call out how the categories have been updated, and instead of just having one general rape category, it now includes things like fondling and statutory rape, etc. And I think those are really important metrics to track and find solutions to support. And thank you for bringing awareness to the commission, for bringing awareness and proactively providing visibility in our community. Agenda item 18 is the Civic Auditorium Handrail Project, and I just wanted to thank everybody involved and thank all the community members who have come to past council meetings to speak on this item. Investing in this project will ensure accessibility and safety for patrons of this venue as well as city staff who work at this venue. So thank you. And item 26, I think comments were, I will echo those comments. Thank you to the Water Department for this environmental stewardship. Thank you so much.
Thank you. With regard to item 15,
Mayor Keeley, sorry, Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson has her hand up.
Madam Vice Mayor, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a couple that I wanted to make comments on. Would now be appropriate?
Please.
Okay, item 15, 22, and 24. Item 15 is the offshore drilling resolution and letter of opposition. I want to thank you, Mayor Keeley and Councilmember Golder, for partnering with me on this. And just a couple words that I think we all know now is not the time to go backwards, and protecting our oceans continues to be of the utmost urgency and importance. And just the world is watching and our community is watching. So I want to thank my council colleagues for bringing this forward and my other council colleagues for considering it. Item 22, I am a fairly recent board member of the Farmers Market, so I just wanted to take an opportunity to congratulate the Farmers Market for their move. It was a huge lift, and I know it went off successfully. Last week was the first week in the new location, and I also want to acknowledge and thank city staff and the various city departments for all their work that they did to make sure that this happened. So thank you all and congratulations. And then just item 24 is the Neary Lagoon Tule and Sediment Removal Project. This is a sweet park in my district, District 3, and so much history there. I just want to thank city teams and city staff for continuing to make sure it's accessible and safe for everyone. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. On item 15, thank you, Madam Vice Mayor and Councilmember Golder and members of the community, Dan Hafley and others who've been working on this for a very long time. I think there was a time where we thought this issue was behind us and that it was unlikely that any administration would be doing leases off the California coast, especially in marine sanctuaries also established by the federal government. But such is not the case. And I think what is helpful is to think not only we send a resolution, we make comments to the proposed Outer Continental Shelf leasing proposal by the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management and the Interior Department, but that will be that. And I think that what we did back in the day on this issue is instructive about how we might go forward, and that is that when the federal government in the 70s and 80s made proposal after proposal after proposal, and we would provide comments and comments and comments, to which there was not a lot of response favorably from the federal government. What local governments did, starting with the city of Santa Cruz, and at the time our current state senator, John Laird, was a city council member and mayor for one of those years. And he and Gary Patton, who was on the Board of Supervisors at the time, developed a strategy with Dan Hafley and Save Our Shores, which said, we might not be able to have any jurisdiction out there in the federal waters about what we can do and not do. We simply have to register our objections. But we have no authority out there. What we do have authority on is on shore. And so the voters of this community adopted Measure A at the time, which prohibited allowing onshore support facilities for offshore oil drilling. So if you get the license, and you're Exxon or whoever it is you want to drill, you can't bring that oil on shore here. You can't build a pipeline, you can't put a refinery, you can't do any of that stuff. And that was not only adopted by the city of Santa Cruz as if we're acting on our own. They then hired Dan Hafley to go up and down the coast of California and got 28 jurisdictions to all adopt the same thing, to essentially build a wall to defend ourselves against the offshore oil drilling, because if they couldn't do anything onshore, they may not do anything offshore, and that ended up being the case. That is still on the books, still on the books. It didn't go away. What went away is they went away, and now they're back wanting to do more offshore oil drilling, or wanting to do offshore oil drilling. So I think one of the things we should do, and the vice mayor has been a great leader on this, is make sure that that measure meets contemporary technology, that it meets back 20, 30, 40 years ago, there were X, Y, and Z ways to do offshore oil drilling and what it was you needed by way of onshore support facilities. So I think something we will probably be looking at is that good enough now? Given that things have changed, technology has changed, mobility of how you move products and so on. But the point here is that the vice mayor and Councilmember Golder and this entire city council, and I think a very, very broad base of the community is very supportive of this action. Thank you very much, Madam Vice Mayor, for bringing this to our attention. Further on the consent agenda. Seeing, hearing none. We good? Is there anyone else on the consent agenda? Okay, clerk will call the roll. Is there a motion? We need a motion. Motion?
So moved.
Excuse me? Did you whistle?
I did.
Was that how you tried to get my attention?
Well, because you forgot again that the public can comment on the consent agenda. Am I incorrect? I'll apologize.
You are not incorrect, but you have been here for years since I've been the mayor. You will not whistle to get attention. Are you clear on that or not? Are you clear on that or not? Thank you. If you wish to make a presentation, make it.
What was I going to do? Ring a bell? Because my understanding.
Your time is going to be up if
right
you
now.
keep doing this.
That's fine. My time's not up. I'm just pointing out that you forgot again on the consent agenda.
Over this. You don't whistle at me to get my attention. You said you were clear on that. Do you want to debate me some more about it?
Not right now.
Good, then speak.
Thank you.
On whatever you want to speak on.
Okay, on the consent agenda, the minutes from March 27th, number 17 about the sound ordinance. And then on the current consent, number 15 about the offshore. So it really is fascinating to get continued examples of people being flustered and trying to limit the free speech of others. Now, the sound ordinance, I haven't taken the time to walk down Pacific Avenue and see how many people have been harassed by that sound ordinance. I'm not sure if the people that drove around are being harassed by that sound ordinance, but it just simply has to do with the repugnant of this genocidal government. Enough on that for now. Now going to the offshore. I think that that's really kind of tragic, and I think that there's so many things that are destroying all life on planet Earth, particularly government, where the only thing government seems to be an expert in is believing that it's an expert of anything. If one were to go through the legislation that's been passed, there are all kinds of things going on. You know, I mentioned Lyndon Johnson, his stand down in 1967 when the state of Israel attacked a U.S. military ship. There was murder parasites long before Lyndon Johnson, and every president and vice president I could speak on for about 3 minutes right now. So to stay on subject, I meant what I said. I'm not trying to question your authority. I'm questioning your authority of anything when you are limiting the people. And you've done this before, skipping over people for public comments. And I'm calling you out on that. So thank you. We can all do better. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Good morning. Welcome to the council meeting.
Good morning, Council. My name is Karen Madura, and I'm the current chair of CPVAW. I wanted to thank all of you for accepting our report. And I also wanted to comment in response to the thoughtful letter we received by Jillian Greensight, and also to our friends at the library who have come and spoken out today. I want to remind the City Council that we consider the public to be the 8th member of our commission, and as such, we always welcome public engagement, and we would like to work together to do whatever we can to make sure that the needs of our community are being addressed. I also wanted to thank the council very much for approving our staff member this last year. That has been a huge asset to all of us, and I think that we will see the commission is going to be able to do so much more because we have the support that we need. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Karen. Anyone else on the consent agenda? Matters back before the body. Pleasure of the body.
Mayor, if I may.
Certainly.
I was just informed by staff that we need to continue item 20 on the consent agenda.
Continue item 20.
Continue item 20 to a future date.
Okay, we will then add that. We will subtract that. So there will be a motion minus item 20.
And to confirm, I also believe minus 12, 13, and 14.
And
correct. Thank you.
14 as well. Very good.
12, 13. 14.
Yes, understood. Is there a motion in that regard?
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda minus the items that were indicated for the record. Debate or discussion, seeing and hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Triguero is absent. Brunner?
Aye.
Newsom?
Aye.
Holder is absent currently. O'Hara?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson?
Aye.
And Mayor Cooley?
Aye. Motion passes and so ordered. We are on items 27 through 29. This is consent public hearing. We will be similar to the consent agenda. We will be holding a public hearing on all of these items simultaneously. I will ask if there are questions by council members, then we will go to the public, then we will return for a vote on the matter. So Councilmember O'Hara, any items on the consent public hearing agenda?
No.
Sir. No. Madam Vice Mayor.
No.
Very good. Anyone with us wish to comment on, I am opening the public hearing on the consent agenda public hearing items. Anyone wish to testify on the public hearings consent agenda items? Do we have anyone online?
No one with their hand up.
The matter is back before the body. Pleasure of the body.
I'll move to consent public hearing items.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Newsom, second by Councilmember O'Hara. Debate or discussion on the consent agenda public hearing.
Nope.
Seeing and hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Bruner,
Aye, with the exception of item 27 and 28.
Newsom,
Aye.
O'Hara,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson,
Aye.
and Mayor Keeley.
Aye. Motion passes and so ordered. Item 30 is the first item on our regular agenda. This would be user charges for wastewater services, proposed 5-year increase over that period of time. Good morning. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Good morning. We have a short presentation. I'm Kevin Crossley, Assistant Director, Public Works. All right, so we're going to be talking about wastewater rates today. First off, I want to introduce and thank the team who got us to the point we're at today. So in chambers, we have Christina Alberti, Principal Management Analyst with the department, who was instrumental in pulling together all the operating costs, which were a big source of data that underpin this effort. We have Eric Helgeson with Barta Wells and Associates, who assisted us with putting together the financial plan and rate recommendations that are before you today. And then she's not here today, enjoying a well-deserved vacation, but Katie Stewart, our senior engineer, was another critical member of the team.
Very good.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the process, review that, the recommendations, highlight a couple of key projects that are one of the major drivers for the recommended rates, talk a little bit about what happens if we don't adopt them, and then touch on the outreach that led up to today's public hearing. Starting with the overview of the process, we brought on Barta Wells and Associates in October 2024. They helped us compile all the data, existing rate structure, operational cost information, things like that, to develop a financial plan. As part of that process, they helped us establish some things like target reserve levels so that we have resources to cover things like emergencies when they do happen. And they also made some recommendations to consolidate our customer classes to bring us into alignment with other partner agencies. What we're recommending, excuse me, I skipped over it, was on average 8% increases for the first 3 years, 7% thereafter. Typically, the city has adopted 5-year rates across our different utilities. Where we stack up relative to some of our peers is in the bottom third, so representative, I think, the very efficient and cost-effective service we deliver. I spoke a little bit about projects. We've got over $50 million worth of capital planned within the next 5 years. That's a change compared to prior rate cycles. Our typical spending was closer to $6 to $7 million on average. So we're using a combination of pay-as-you-go plus debt financing to reinvest in some of the major assets in the system. We've completed some pretty major projects over the last several years. Most notably, we implemented a liner project, which rehabilitated over a mile of critical sewer line in the Pacific Beach area without any disruption to the public, and that was about a $5 million project. On our horizon, we're in construction on a $20 million project inside the plant. It's not very visible to the community, but it's a critical major project that's under construction right now. And we're closing in on starting design on major upgrades to the electrical system. It's a very complex project. It's analogous to flying the plane while you're building it, and so that's going to be a tricky one. We'll bring that back to you in August, probably with a recommendation on delivery method. And we're also midway through a master planning exercise, which is doing a top-to-bottom evaluation of the facility, understanding all the important process changes we'll need to implement to comply with future regulations, as well as understand what the risks and vulnerabilities of the system are with respect to climate change, cybersecurity, and other things of that nature. I think it goes without saying, it's a critical facility. It's a regional facility. It treats the wastewater for our community, as well as roughly 50,000 residents in the county. It operates 24/7, 365. I talked a lot about projects, but part of what's baked into these rates is supporting hiring, retaining, and training our key staff that work 24/7 to deliver this critical service. We acknowledge that affordability in our community is an issue. The Water Department and the Public Works Department have collaborated on development of this utility customer assistance program. That's a direct break on their bills, $25 a month if you qualify. So far, we have 200 folks enrolled. There's a push to expand the program into multifamily customer classes in 2026. And we also offer a low sewage producer rate. So those in a community that do not use a lot of water and do not generate a lot of waste get a price break of around $27 per month on their bill. As far as outreach goes, we brought this item to you to approve the mailer. We received some great feedback on both who we were going to send the mailer to, translation of the mailer into Spanish. So that all happened. We sent out over 31,000 notices to property owners, as well as renters and other folks that wouldn't have normally received that notice. In addition to that, of course, we used all of our digital tools, social media, website, bill inserts, and also touched on our Public Works Commission, who approved the recommended rates back in February. We did an open house in March, and then also brought this item to you, in March, not April. I misspoke. And with that, the recommendation in front of you is to adopt the resolution with the rates as noted in the staff report.
Thank you. Let me see if there are questions or comments by council members. Councilmember O'Hara.
Not at this time.
Councilmember. Madam Vice Mayor.
No, I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me ask if there is anyone with us in the chambers today or anyone online who wishes to make comment on this item. Ms. Bush, do we have anyone online with their hand up? We will take that person. Good morning and welcome to the council meeting.
Yes, hello, Mayor, this is Garrett. Hey, I'd say a worthwhile city goal is to be like the very highest ranked cities, not the sidewalk poo leftist cities like the lowest ranked San Francisco, but like the other third city, Huntington Beach, which is one such city ranked the second best run city in California and the 10th happiest in America. Their current SUR rates for SFR housing for 2025 that they say is a large proposed increase is to only $12.43 a month versus your proposal of $65. And where in 2029 their rates will be $22.70 a month versus your proposed rate of $93.13. That's around an eye-popping 400% more. 400% should raise eyebrows and maybe pitchforks and torches, but apparently not in a city which is so parasitically dependent, which is a different matter. They also made major investments last year, but they had a larger, much better managed reserve to drain. Sure, it's difficult to compare cities, but sewage is sewage, isn't it? While you don't say in precise detail exactly why the rate increases and base rates are so relatively astronomical, some of it surely has to do with the extra processing and transporting of effluent to standards and then transferring it across the city to fill those new underwater ground basins. While the threat of drought makes having insurance against it a very real concern, so far that effort has been totally unnecessary as, surprise, surprise, rainfall averages are just that, averages, and I never liked that. You've never divulged when I ask you, maybe never bothered to calculate how much a CCF of that groundwater basin recycled water is going to actually cost us versus other methods. And this is just the beginning, the wastewater cost part, or that the details of who pays what in those water sharing agreements with other districts. It seems like the other districts pay nothing for this sewer infrastructure improvement, whether they buy recycled water at cost from us or not, which will be no surprise if they don't. You never say, not in this venue. Then there is the slush fund concern, like I suspect charging rail trail issues to the sewer department, and somebody has to pay for that and not the right someone. I will mention there is nothing, absolutely nothing you ever do that doesn't increase the cost of housing for most people, whether it is electrification, green new scan building, fuel energy codes, utility rates. And when you do, for a few chosen people, it either ignores the unintended consequences that there is no free lunch and regard any expense as a justified expense. Unfortunately, there is no competition for government like the private sector to drive down costs. How does Huntington Beach do it? Maybe you should ask them. If the utilities are so worn out, so paid for long ago, you would think we'd have a sweet spot of cost to start with, but actually rates have been going up astronomically for years. If Bart Simpson said, that's the worst part, Homer would say, that's the worst part so far. The real kicker is that 8.5% tax on top of the increases, where if you truly were only charging at cost, why tax that extra amount? A wild guess is because you can't get enough of other people's money. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else online? Anyone with us in chambers wish to provide testimony on the issue? Matters back before the body. Pleasure of the body. Councilmember O'Hara.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to move to adopt a resolution adopting the revised wastewater user charges and rescinding resolution number NS 29520.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Brunner. Debate and discussion. You may open on your motion.
Thank you. This might be the fastest rate hearing on record. I do want to reflect on a few things in moving forward with this rate increase. One of our core responsibilities as council members is to ensure the long-term sustainability of essential public services. And that includes maintaining a reliable, well-functioning wastewater system. These rate adjustments reflect that obligation and the reality of rising costs, aging infrastructure, and the increasing demands of environmental regulation. I also want to take a moment to recognize the critical work of our public works staff. Kevin Crosley and all those that he mentioned are just a few. The entire department works towards maintaining our wastewater system in many different levels, and I just want to share that appreciation. Maintaining the system requires careful planning, technical expertise, and continuous investment. And this proposal reflects a forward-looking approach that balances current operational needs with the future resilience of our infrastructure. I do want to remark that, honestly, these rates are probably not, well, they're definitely not enough, honestly, to get to us to where we eventually need to be. And while they seem or could seem significant, maintaining our infrastructure is a significant investment. And so I really appreciate the careful planning that went into this rate increase. Equally important is the continuation and strengthening of our assistance program, which we heard about during this presentation. I appreciate that staff has prioritized affordability alongside sustainability, ensuring that our most vulnerable community members are not left behind. So I wanted to share that appreciation as well. So for all those reasons, I support this proposal and see it as a responsible, necessary step in protecting the health, environment, and financial stability of our city. Thank you.
Thank you. For the debate or discussion, Councilmember Brunner.
Thank you. I'll just be brief. Many of my comments were said by Councilmember O'Hara. I just want to emphasize what an essential service this is for the community. It is one of those invisible services that the city does and that a lot of community members do not get to visibly see. And this path forward really will help ensure investing for the next few decades to come. We have to stay on top of this. It's so important. And being in regulatory compliance is also extremely important, as we are a very environmentally careful city and community. And so thank you for always bringing that priority through in the work that's done around this. And I really appreciate in the staff report laying out, which was one of my questions, laying out what would happen if we weren't able to increase the rates or we weren't able to continue investing in the wastewater system. And you know, it's very clear that it would be a threat to our public health and the environment. So at a time when costs feel like they're rising, I think the comparison chart that was shown was equally important to just have some context around where we are in comparison and thank you for offering for our low-income community members the continued assistance. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to acknowledge the city clerk for to announce any protests that have been filed timely.
Thank you, Mayor. Per Public Works staff, there are 18,105 parcels in the city, which would require 50% plus one. We received 13 protests, one of which is not valid, so we received 12 valid protests.
Thank you very much. In other words, the threshold for the objections has not been met.
Has not been met.
Thank you very much. We have a motion, we have a second, we have a debate and discussion, further debate and discussion. Seeing and hearing none, the clerk will call the roll. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Madam Vice Mayor, did you have any comment? Okay, thank you.
I did not, thank
I'm still
you.
getting in this routine, you on that, so thank you. Clerk will call the roll.
Council members Brunner?
Aye.
Newsom?
Aye.
O'Hara? Aye. Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson?
Aye.
And Mayor Keeley?
Aye. Motion passes and so ordered. Thank you, sir. We are on item 31. This is user charges for wastewater services, proposed sewer connection fees. This is a citywide issue. Let me guess, Mr. Crosley on this item.
Good morning, Kevin Crossley, Assistant Director, Public Works. As part of the wastewater rates evaluation, we also took the opportunity to revisit our capacity charges, which is the rate we charge for somebody to connect to the wastewater system or to upsize a current service. As we're all aware, there's a lot of development in the community occurring, so we felt like the time was right to revisit this topic. And what we are recommending are increases that we feel are justified and consistent with the target of 100% cost recovery and equitable buy-in for those who want to utilize this critical infrastructure in our community.
Questions or comments by council members? Let me see. Madam Vice Mayor, I'm looking to see.
I do not.
Anyone with us wish to make comment on this item? Seeing and hearing none, the matter is back before the body. Pleasure of the body.
I will move item number 31, user charges for wastewater services, proposed sewer connection fees.
Very good. There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Under discussion, Councilmember Brunner, you may open on your motion.
I have many of the same comments as the previous item, and thank you for the outreach and engagement and for making sure the information reached our community. And I think this is a fair way to invest in our infrastructure and recover those costs, some of those costs. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bush, on this item, I do not see an item where I check with you about any protests. Is that correct?
Right.
All right. We do not do that on this one. Let me see if anyone with us wishes to make a comment on this. Seeing and hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Council members Brunner?
Aye.
Newsom?
Aye.
O'Hara? Aye. Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson?
Aye.
And Mayor Keeley?
Aye. Motion passes and so ordered. We are going to take a 5-minute break for a couple of reasons. One of them is I need to do a bit of consulting with the city clerk and the city attorney on a couple of items. So we're going to take 5 minutes. We'll be back here in 5 minutes' time. City Council is back in session, and a quorum is present, and Vice Mayor Shepherd Kalantari Johnson is joining us remotely, which is permitted under our rules. She is on a pre-approved out-of-town business-related work, and so she is joining us in that way. Before I want to do a couple things before we proceed on this afternoon. One is Mr. Ewing and I had a very brief conversation a minute ago. You might, if you were watching this earlier during oral communication, Mr. Ewing tried to get my attention in a way that is not, in my opinion, comporting with the way we want to operate things. So Mr. Ewing and I met for a moment briefly coming back into session. This is really for everyone. Any presiding officer, whether it's here, the Board of Supervisors, state legislature, or a board meeting of a nonprofit, you're trying to do many things simultaneously, deal with your colleagues, deal with staff, deal with the public, making sure things are going. And so the best way I have found over the years as a presiding officer, whether it was when I was Speaker Pro Tem of the Assembly or whatever, is if someone wants the attention of the presiding officer, go to the microphone and simply say, point of order. And if you do that, that's my cue that we pause for a second. I hear what the person, whether it is one of my colleagues or a person in the public, wishes to raise a procedural issue, a point of order. I will then recognize that person for that point of order, and I will then issue a ruling on the point of order. So Mr. Ewing and I had that conversation. Mr. Ewing, as he oftentimes does, said, that makes sense. Now I know that's how he'll proceed from here on out, and I want to just share that with everyone else so we don't have a repeat of what we had this morning. Mr. Ewing, thank you for the conversation. I appreciate it. We are on item 33. This is to designate fire hazard severity zones within the city of Santa Cruz. We have presentations by the fire department, and we will have various actions that are recommended for our consideration and adoption. Good morning and welcome. Good to see you again, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Tim Shields, Division Chief of Prevention and Fire Marshal for the City of Santa Cruz Fire Department. Thank you for having me, and thank you for making accommodations to push our presentation along. Appreciate it. They're up? Okay. Fire hazard severity zones, really exciting topic today. I'll be very brief, but I wanted to, before getting into the bulk of the presentation, kind of give you a background quickly about when the maps originated and how they kind of progressed. So back in 1982, these maps were mandated by the state. They weren't introduced for the state areas of responsibility until 1985. They were created. Post the Oakland fire in 1991, 1992, the state mandated that the very...
Let me ask you if you'd do me a favor.
Yes, sir.
Just move that microphone just slightly closer, because for some reason you have a very soft voice today.
And again, it's nice to be here presenting and not regulating. So when I need to speak loudly, I speak loudly. In 1992, they mandated very high zones for LRA, and I'll get into what those meanings are. Not until 2007 in the local areas did they actually implement these maps for very high areas. And then 2021 is when the state mandated moderate and high, and that's where we're sitting today, is going to adopt these new maps that they mandated back in 2021. So it takes time for the state to catch up. Here we go. So the state developed these maps, again, per government codes, and identified 3 levels of hazard. And those are moderate, high, and very high. The state uses specific modeling based on hazard levels, and you can see the different factors they use when they develop these modeling attributes, including fire history, vegetation type, fire length, blowing embers, proximity to the wildland, terrain, and weather. So all these items they take in consideration when they model fire behavior. Subsequently, in 2021, they brought in a lot of new data, because data is always advancing. That included burn probabilities, slope, proximity to urban development, localized fire weather. And so they brought in a bunch of new data in 2021 to develop these new maps that looked at both state responsible areas and local responsible areas. And that leads us to our map. So they released these in phases. Ours came with the Northern California coastal phase. And as you can see on the map in front of you, yellow designates moderate zones of hazard. Almost all of the city is within the moderate level. Only Demia Lane, part of campus, which is not within our purview, and Moore Creek Preserve, where there's no structures, are designated as high. Now, a lot of you have asked, what's the difference between hazard, risk, insurance company, and state fire marshal? Well, the insurance company have their own modeling that we have no input into, and they look at risk and what's the risk of damage to structures. And they use their own modeling, whereas CAL FIRE uses hazard, the probability of an area burning, and what the expected fire behavior will be. So that's kind of the difference between what the state fire marshal releases as hazard and insurance company use as risk. So what does that mean, right? So we have these maps with these colors. What does that mean to us? So the state then mandates certain actions based on the zones, and I'll get into what actions for each zone, which include building standards that specifically address wildland-urban interface, building construction types, property development, road widths, water supply, defensible space requirements in terms of how you trim your vegetation around your home, and natural hazard real estate disclosure, which when you sell a home, the real estate agent is required to disclose any wildland hazard. So this is probably the best chart that I have. I didn't create it, the State Fire Marshal did, so thank you, State Fire Marshal, of what is required for each zone. And as I said earlier, all but a small portion of Santa Cruz is in the moderate zone. So all we're required to do by state mandate is adopt these maps. That's all we're required to do. If we were to have high or very high, you could see the other actions that would be required, including the hazard disclosure, building requirements, the vegetation, defensible space. You can be more restrictive, and we are in the city, where we've adopted the building standards that then incorporate within the high. So any new construction within the wild and urban interface, they're required to use the higher building standard, the roofing, siding, windows that meet the higher standard. And that's really the bulk of my presentation. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me.
Are there questions or comments by council members or by the vice mayor? Councilmember O'Hara is recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Tim, for the presentation. I really appreciate it. I guess one question I do have, and you might not be able to answer this, but it did come up in my mind as I was looking at the map, is it would be very helpful in future years to see what is around us and not just within the city limits, just from the perspective of, I understand that we have mostly yellow, mostly moderates. There are those other tiers, high and very high. Just understanding how vulnerable we are to the unincorporated area, to the significant level of forested open space around the city. If there is a clear cutoff between yellow and red, and what does the area around us look like? Because it seems like it would be, at least a good conversation for us to have.
And those maps are available on the CAL FIRE website. We can post those to our website, which gives the whole sort of breadth of our surrounding jurisdictions. With our immediate jurisdiction, it's only moderate and high. We don't get into the very high until you get into, I think, Corralitos area. So there aren't many areas in our specific sphere of influence that reach into the very high. Having said that, we all know what CZU did and what the impacts are. So we can post those maps as well. And it's an interactive map that you can scroll anywhere in the state.
That would be very helpful. Thank you.
Further on this item? Madam Vice Mayor? Very
No
good.
questions at this time. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone wish to comment on the item? Mr. Ewing, good afternoon, sir. Whoops. Good morning, sir. I still have 3 minutes of the morning. It doesn't seem possible that we have 3 minutes of the morning remaining. Good afternoon, sir.
My recorder's not always working. Well, since the CZU fire was mentioned, that happened August 16th, 2020, I'm pretty sure. Wonder how many people happened to be camping on the beach that night besides myself and my girlfriend. You know, I was awakened by, I think, the light. You couldn't really hear it. But that was quite the spectacle. I wish I would have taken some video of that. But my understanding is the first recorded information of directed energy weapons fires like that has happened in Australia in 1983. There's a whole series on those things. So what does that have to do with any kind of fire regulations and stuff? I mean, I lived in the scenic corridor for 20 years, and I think that a lot of those regulations are really important. And where I lived in 2013 and 2014 on Stoddard Road off of Alba in Ben Lomond, the dwelling I lived in the main house was turned into foundry ash, whereas the dozens of fruit trees weren't affected. The major redwood tree, massive, as big as this area here, big tree, it wasn't affected. Those are absolutely directed energy weapons fires. What can we do with that stuff when we have those frequency weapons everywhere? I mean, that's what brought me into this room 6 years ago. Why are we allowing military frequency weapons in civilian zones? So there's so many other subjects that aren't really being discussed that I wish were, because we're all in this together. And what can we do? How can we combat situations like that? So, you know, that's enough. I wish I had recorded our dialogue before, and I appreciate that you clarified some stuff. I'm doing the best I can.
Of course you are.
I mean, imagine when I feel like Humpty Dumpty with my boots against sitting there, I can be really loud, but I can be quiet and loud at the same time. So thank you for that clarification, Mr. Keeley. I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. Very much appreciate it. Anyone else who wishes to comment on this item? Do we have anyone online who wishes to comment on the item?
No, we don't.
Matter is back before the body. Pleasure of the body.
I'll move. Staff recommendation.
There's a motion.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Newsom. Councilmember O'Hara, you may open on your motion.
Not many more comments other than to express my appreciation to the fire departments. A few of my council colleagues and myself, Councilmember Golder and Councilmember Triguero, are working on a comprehensive wildfire prevention strategy for the city. This is just one piece of that, and I realize that it is regulated by the state, but it does give us a sense of those hazards, and it also is from the perspective of ensuring that we as a community can understand the work that we need to do to prepare ourselves, what is required versus what is recommended. I hope, you know, we can continue to have those conversations. I really appreciate this, and that's it. Thank you.
For the debate or discussion, Councilmember Brunner.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to comment that as we continue to learn from the past and continue to stay in compliance with state, this also helps increase our understanding, I think, for the community in understanding the different areas within the city and really understanding kind of that exposure, that fire exposure. And I'm just hoping we can continue to have that awareness and information and continue working towards that here in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Further debate or discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmembers Brunner?
Aye.
Newsom?
Aye.
O'Hara? Aye. Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson?
Aye.
And Mayor Keeley?
Aye. Motion passes and so ordered. Thank you for your very fine work. We are on item 34. This is Economic Development Strategy Update and recommendations regarding the vibrancy ordinance, permit streamlining, and fee updates. And we have material in our packet, and we have a presentation. By Ms. Unit.
Yes, thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon. Rebecca Unit, Economic Development Manager. Excited to present for you a follow-up of our presentation at the April 22nd meeting. So at that meeting, we presented an update on our economic development strategy with a number of items to focus on activating some of our vacant storefronts, among other projects. And so today we're coming back to present some options to save business applicants time and money in the permitting process. This was additional direction provided at that meeting. And also to appropriate $50,000 from the Economic Development Trust Fund for implementation of downtown activation events over the next 6 to 12 months. So to jump into some of the options that we've prepared for council consideration today, one of the first items we wanted to cover was a consideration to extend the validity of use permits. So currently under our code, use permits expire after 36 months if not acted upon, or 6 months after a use ceases. So if a business were to close, another business has 6 months to be able to pick up that use permit. We are proposing to amend that municipal code section to extend those use permits much longer. So considering all commercial use permits that were valid between January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2026, to extend those through January 1st, 2030. So this would save businesses time and money in applying for permits to get their business up and running if they're able to take over a previously approved use. They can do that with just a simple zoning clearance over-the-counter process, much more efficient and cost-effective for them. The other item that we are bringing for council direction is to do some additional permit streamlining. So we have accomplished some of this already through our downtown plan expansion changes and through the objective standards process as well for some of our mixed use spaces. And so this would be taking a deeper dive into our permit streamlining options, revisiting the downtown plan for additional changes, looking at the zoning code more comprehensively of where we can amend those commercial uses to reduce the permit requirements there. So some of the uses that we're targeting right now are artist studios, museums, galleries, cultural institutions, health fitness studios, bona fide restaurants with alcohol service, as well as tasting rooms, personal services, non-residential ground floor uses over 16,000 square feet. That specifically in our downtown plan has some stricter requirements, as well as our cafe extension areas, sidewalk dining, and looking at entertainment permits as well. So looking at the big goals with this permit streamlining approach is removing use permit requirements for businesses that are desired and common in our city. Things that we see often, we're permitting fairly frequently. The conditions aren't changing when we're approving those use permits, looking at ways that we can codify those conditions in the municipal code and reduce that time and cost to obtain a use permit if we can just make those principally permitted. We also want to look at our alcohol sales requirements. So currently the municipal code has this division between low risk and high risk. And so looking at are those deviations clear, and also looking at some of our on-site food preparation requirements. So for example, breweries and tasting rooms currently are required to prepare food on site. Looking at could we accomplish the goals of that, of being able to have food on site with food trucks or other means, and being able to help those businesses maybe focus on their core business model and supporting some of our existing restaurants or food providers in the community. So something that we want to evaluate. And then additionally, looking at improvements to our entertainment permit process. So the world of entertainment's really changed, especially since COVID. Folks are looking at different opportunities to add entertainment pieces to their business while that not being their core function. And so looking at how we can clarify what activities require full entertainment permits, what can we really deem as incidental entertainment versus a primary entertainment use, and then also looking at outdoor entertainment permit requirements, which are treated separately in the code. So just doing a deeper dive of how we can clarify and simplify those processes. Okay. And then another option that we're presenting for your consideration, following that additional direction we had at the April 22nd meeting, is exploring not imposing plan check and permit fees for a set number of businesses. So we've prepared a resolution that would allow the council to not collect the first $14,000 in specific planning and building permit fees. And this would be applicable to the first 20 businesses that are qualified seeking tenant improvements. This would apply to building plan check and building permit issuance inspection fees, as well as those planning related plan check fees and general plan maintenance fees. What we're considering qualified business for this incentive program is tenant improvements to occupy vacant ground floor commercial or mixed use storefronts citywide, but not industrial businesses. Okay, and then another item that we needed to set as part of the implementation of our vibrancy ordinance. So this is our vacant storefront registry program, setting the fee. We've prepared a resolution to be able to set this fee at $1,621.90. So this would apply to all storefronts on Pacific Avenue under the recently adopted vibrancy ordinance if they've been currently vacant for 2 years or more, or as they reach that 2-year vacancy mark now that the ordinance is in effect. We set this fee based on a calculation of planning and community development and economic development staff time to process applications, conduct inspections, schedule and attend annual meetings that are requirements for those registered properties, as well as the ongoing monitoring of vacant storefronts that we need to do to implement this ordinance. So with this package of options that we've presented, we wanted to go through sort of what the varying review processes are to make these happen. So if the council wanted to move forward with the fee removal resolution today, that would be effective immediately. We would be updating the fee schedule for that. If we wanted to look at the permit streamlining approach, staff is already beginning to look at that, but we would dive into that much deeper this summer. I anticipate that taking several months. It's going to be an interdepartmental process for sure, and would require approval at Planning Commission first, then City Council, as well as Coastal Commission for that full adoption. For the use permit extension, that could be a fairly quick ordinance amendment change, so we would prepare that for review by the Planning Commission in July and could bring that back to the City Council in August for consideration and adoption. And that would also require Coastal Commission approval as well. We anticipate that could go in the fall or the winter, depending on the packages that our planning department is working on preparing for council approval. And then finally, the vibrancy ordinance. With adoption of that fee, that will help us with the implementation that begins this month. Actually, in a couple days, that ordinance takes effect. And so we are working on informing those property owners that would be required to register and getting that process in place. And then we have in that ordinance a requirement to return to council for review of that going citywide in June of 2026. I have the recommendations for you here. They're the same as in your packet, and I will welcome any questions.
Thank you. Are there questions by members at this point? Councilmember O'Hara.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I appreciate it. I did have a question because I'm still kind of reconciling the first 20 businesses citywide within the context of the vibrancy ordinance and what we're trying to do downtown. And you might not have the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I'd like to kind of understand what percentage of new permits of these types are happening downtown versus other locations in the city, to give a sense of, are these 20 like statistically going to be, mostly focused downtown based on what we've seen over the last couple years? That would be helpful for me to understand.
That is a good question. I don't know that I have the statistics off of the top of my head. I don't know if anybody has any background. But, we have seen tremendous business activity in the downtown, tenant improvements, floor spaces are certainly needed.
Mr. Butler, unshockingly, you probably have it at the top of your head.
Good afternoon, Mayor, and thanks for that question, Councilmember O'Hara. I don't actually have that answer. Bonnie and I were just conversing, and we think that a majority are likely in the downtown. We do have business activity throughout the city, but there's a lot more activity in the downtown. And so we would say the majority, but we don't have that specific stat.
Just to follow up, just to confirm, but it is staff's perspective that based on what we've seen over the last few years, especially post-COVID, the first 20 would in large part be supportive of downtown vibrancy versus, citywide, other areas, commercial areas of our city.
I would agree with that. We can't predict, there may be a number of businesses on the west side or on the east side that are looking at this and getting ready to go, but certainly there would be a significant number of businesses in the downtown as well. So yes, the downtown will, the tenants coming in will benefit from this, and the downtown as a whole will as well.
Then thank you, Lee. I had one other, if you could go back, Rebecca, to the last, the recommendation slide. I just want to clarify with the recommendation that it is qualifying new commercial businesses, ground floor businesses citywide, correct? I want to just make sure that that's clear.
Yep, yeah, we could add that.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions, comments by members? Madam Vice Mayor, any question?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I do have a comment. First, I want to thank staff for bringing this next step of the vibrancy framework forward. I know a lot of work's been put into it. I had sent emails before around the streamlining of permitting for alcohol licenses, and have a better understanding of what we're looking at. But I just do want to make this point as someone who's worked in youth advocacy around addressing access and availability to alcohol. I want us to be cautious as we move forward and, balance the streamlining and vibrancy of our local businesses with ensuring that we are not increasing access and availability to the young people in our community. So I just want to put that note out there that let's move cautiously with this piece.
It's hard to say.
That's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Thank you. Are there further questions or comments by members? Let me ask if there are folks in the public who wish to comment on this item. This would be your opportunity to do so. Ms. Bush, do we have anyone online with their hand raised?
We do not.
We do not. Last call for anyone who is with us in chambers to comment on the item. Seeing and hearing none, the matter is back before the body. Pleasure of the body.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to move staff recommendation 1 through 5.
There's a motion.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Mr. Newsom, you may open on your motion.
Thank you, Mayor. My comments will be very brief. Just want to thank Deputy City Manager Lipscomb, Director Butler, and Manager Unit for bringing this item forward. This item is in response to direction that we gave to staff about a month or two ago on the vibrancy ordinance, and it's designed to streamline the permitting process and help businesses save time and money to increase vibrancy in the city. So happy to support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I actually have one more question, just to make sure that I'm reading the recommendations correctly. You could go back to the, sorry, Julia. For 2, is that the life cycle of active ground floor commercial permits or all commercial permits? I just want to confirm that as well.
We have it as just commercial permits, but we could specify.
I can't hear you. Please speak more directly.
I believe we have it just broadly to commercial permits, so we could specify to ground floor.
I mean, I don't have a strong opinion, but I was wondering, council member, if you had a strong opinion about that. I do not. Okay, so I think it's fine leaving it commercial, but adding the ground floor for 1 is part of your motion.
Is that part of the motion?
That was not part of the motion. Would you like me?
It's not currently in the recommendation.
Let's hold on a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
There is the recommendation. do you wish to consider an amendment, either friendly or otherwise, to that motion?
So the direction from the last meeting was just 20 ground floor commercial businesses citywide. That was not translated to number 1. So I would like to suggest a friendly amendment to 1 to ensure that we're consistent with direction from the last meeting for qualifying new ground floor commercial businesses citywide.
I'll accept that.
Considered a friendly amendment. Yes. Mr. Planning Director, any comment on that, sir?
That's fine. The resolution before you does have that language.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Further on this?
No.
Further on this? Clerk will call the roll.
Council members Newsom,
Aye.
O'Hara,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson,
Aye.
and Mayor Keeley.
Aye. Motion passes and supported. Thank you for your very good work. Let me take a moment here and set the stage for how we're going to proceed for the rest of our day. We had anticipated that the day would take a bit longer to get where we are in this moment, and it hasn't. That's probably a celebratory moment. With regard, here's how I would like to proceed. We will adjourn from now until 1:45. And the reason for that is because that is what we told the public we thought would be the time we would take up the item for which I expect the most participation. So rather than, we have no legal issue here, we could do it right now. I think that is not a fair service to everybody who is interested in this. So we will take a break from here to 1:45. At that time, we will take up item 32. Should that item extend until we get to 3:30, we will suspend activity on item 32, and we will return to presentations. There are 3 of those presentations. That should probably take us a half an hour, 40 minutes, something like that, at 3:30. We will then return to item 32 and continue our work. The last 2 items we will take up today after we finish our work on item 32 will be items 35.1.1 and item 35.2.1. Those are final actions on our fiscal year 25-26 budget. Adjourn from now to 1:45, take up item 32, take such time as that takes. If we get and are still on that item at 3:30, we will suspend. We will take up awards presentations and other recognitions, return to item 32. Following completion of that, we will take up the 2 budget items. We stand adjourned until 1:45. The hour of 1:45 having arrived, the Santa Cruz City Council is back in session following our morning session, and the clerk will call the roll to establish a quorum.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members Brunner,
Present.
Newsom,
Present.
Councilmember Golder is absent. O'Hara, here. Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson,
Present.
and Mayor Keeley.
Present. Having established a quorum, let me give folks a sense of how we will proceed this afternoon. We will, in a moment, move to item 32. This is the ordinance to prohibit the sale of filtered tobacco products in the city of Santa Cruz. We will stay on that item for such time as it takes. And everyone who is here who wishes to speak, you will have your opportunity to speak. There may be folks who will join us online. And in the case, I expect that will happen. What we will do when we go to your testimony is with folks online, we will toggle back and forth. We'll take somebody in person, then we'll take someone online, then we'll go back to somebody in person, back online. And everybody will have 2 minutes. Now, as we go through this today, if we're several hours into it in terms of testimony and so on, I may ask if you would be all right with reducing from 2 minutes to 1 minute after we've heard a lot of testimony. If essentially people are repeating, we'll check in with you about that. What we will do if we get to 3:30 p.m. this afternoon and we have not finished with this item, we will suspend action on it for a few minutes because we have some presentations. A Hans Christian Andersen presentation to some young people in our community and so on, that kind of thing. And then we will return immediately to item 32. Following that, at the end of our deliberations and action on item 32, we will move to our 2 final budget action items for the 2025-26 fiscal year. So that's how we're going to proceed this afternoon. We will start with item 32, and in that regard, we have a presentation by our Vice Mayor and others who have worked on this. And our Vice Mayor is a ways away from City Hall today, but we are very pleased that she is able to join us electronically and for her very fine work on this item. Madam Vice Mayor, you are recognized.
Thank you so much, Mayor, and thank you for the opportunity. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council colleagues, for hearing and considering this very important ordinance. And I just want to take a moment to thank city staff and county partners, Supervisor Cummings, who's taken a leadership role on this at the county, and a number of community partners for their extensive work on this item and on this issue for the last few years. Today's ordinance reflects a simple truth. And that is that filtered cigarettes are the most littered item on the planet, and they impact our local beaches. They offer no health benefits, and they release microplastics and toxins into our oceans, into our parks, and into our neighborhoods. And you'll hear a lot more from our partner experts about this. Earlier this morning, we adopted a resolution confirming the city's commitment to prohibiting offshore drilling in our marine sanctuary and supporting sending a letter opposing the proposed gas leasing program. Now, these decisions are all interrelated, and these policy decisions from earlier this morning and what we're considering right now are very much aligned. The policy is about aligning our local choices with the global urgency that we face that I know you all know very well. So I hope that we have a positive outcome after we hear the presentation. And with that, I will pass it on to whoever's going to be kicking us off with our presentation.
Good afternoon. Afternoon, Emmeline. Afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council Member. Emmeline, Principal Management Analyst for the City Manager's Office. I just want to begin by acknowledging this effort has truly been a multi-year and multi-partner collaboration, and one that even predates my involvement in this project. It took a village to get here, and I want to recognize the foundation that was laid by past and current council members, as well as the partners who have contributed their time, expertise, and our ongoing support. And this includes all of our city departments, the health and all policies, the County of Santa Cruz Tobacco Education and Prevention, Save Our Shores Cigarette Surfboards, and San Diego State University. So these individuals and organizations have provided insights into this issue through local data collection, education, and outreach and service. And these efforts have helped build the groundwork for what we're going to be presenting today. So here's a quick overview of our today's presentation. We'll walk through the project timeline, and we'll receive some of the data from our youth and local data, as well as the proposed ordinance. And finally, we'll close out with the next steps as well as the questions and answers from council members. All right, so here's our timeline. It reflects how this topic has evolved from community interest to regional policy conversation. One of the key updates I wanted to highlight was in September of 2022 when the County Tobacco Education and Prevention had provided council a presentation to provide information update on the TPW item. And that discussion resulted in several motions from the City Council. We were directed to work with the Health and All Policies to explore various of policies that was being presented. And as well as working with a subcommittee that would incorporate some of our stakeholders like Cigarette Surfboard and Save Our Shores. So the council had directed staff and stakeholders to begin that outreach and return with a recommendation in May of 2023. And we were tasked afterwards to participate with the county's TPW subcommittee. As part of our community engagement outreach, we hosted 5 public meetings. This doesn't include the events that were organized by other organizations that we've partnered with. There was a mix of virtual and in-person to collect feedback and share information with the businesses and public. We also received 297 responses from our surveys, which represents approximately less than 1% of our city's total population, which I do want to recognize. But although this represents a small proportion of our residents, it does offer insight into the views of our engaged community members. So of those who responded, there were 77% that were city residents, 14% of them identified as business owners, and 13 of the narrative responses appear to be licensed tobacco retailers, which is about 27% of the city's 48 current tobacco retailers. The most commonly supported policy, the top 3 options included: 1 was a ban on single-use cigarette filters, which 208 responded. The second was a mitigation fee on tobacco products. And the third was prohibit the sale of all single-use plastic tobacco products. So in the open-ended comments, feedback that were suggested, the need for public waste bins, signage, enforcement, and education. So some of these data will be presented later on this afternoon. Business owners generally acknowledge the litter issue, but also express concerns of the potential impacts of the product ban, and especially on small businesses. So several also proposed alternatives where wanted to include public infrastructure improvements and phased implementation. In short, the data reflects a range of perspectives, including both strong support for action and also specific concerns from affected businesses. So alongside the survey, we also partnered up with the California Department of Public Health, where we had installed the street banners, and also businesses that also installed some of the window decals in front of their businesses. We also had a posting on the Sentinel of our public meetings, and had issued out various of newsletters through our citywide economic development and library, through social media, email blasts, flyers, flag sheets. And in addition to that, for those that, we have received bounce back on the emails, staff and I, we have also visited the businesses in the area to also hand deliver these flyers to make sure that they were informed of the meetings that were taking place. All right, and so I will now pass it off to our youth.
Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Ben Somerville, and I'm a youth liaison with the city of Santa Cruz. And so over the past few months, I have worked on a project gathering data from youth about youth perspectives on tobacco product waste, because that was something that we noticed was lacking. And so I put out a survey to the youth of Santa Cruz, and I got around 60 responses in this survey. And it's important to note, though, while we try to do outreach throughout the city, most of the responses are coming from Santa Cruz high school students, so from probably the ages of 14 to 18, and mostly live on the west side of Santa Cruz, so that could impact data. And so the data showed that 86.2% of youth have seen a noticeable amount of tobacco product waste on sidewalks and streets in the city, and 51.7% have observed a lot of tobacco product waste at the beach. And about 75.9% believe that tobacco product waste significantly harms the environment, and they believe it's like a big issue. And also around 46.6% think tobacco product waste has a notable impact on not just the environment, but the community too. We also wanted to look at how almost there's cigarette culture, and if part of like the tobacco product waste issue comes from the idea that it's normalized just to throw cigarettes on the ground. And interestingly, only 24.1% of youth thought it was a norm or like a social norm to throw cigarettes on the ground or out of a car window, while almost 53.4% are unsure. And I think this comes from the fact that 96.6% of youth identified vapes as the most commonly used tobacco product among their peers, which suggests that they're less familiar with cigarette culture than adults. But overall, the data has shown that youth agree that tobacco product waste is an issue that needs to be addressed within the city and our community. Thank you. That's it off.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon and welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, Mayor and Council members. My name is Katie Thompson. I'm Executive Director of Save Our Shores, and I'll have us dive deeper into the cigarette butt data we have. So cigarette butts are the most littered item on the planet, with over 4.5 trillion butts littered globally each year. And that trend holds true locally. From 2013 to 2024, Save Our Shores volunteers picked up nearly 500,000 cigarette butts on Monterey Bay beaches. It is the most identifiable littered item on our beaches. And these littered butts pose a threat to the health of our local marine environment. The butts are made out of plastic and over 9,000 different chemicals. Over time, butts break down into microplastics, which leach into our environment. Microplastics have been found in all layers of the water column in Monterey Bay, posing a threat not only to the marine organisms, but also to the humans that consume local seafood. They are also toxic. A single cigarette butt dropped into a 1 liter fish tank can kill half of the fish in it. When it comes to health, one of the biggest misconceptions is that cigarette filters make smoking safer. But according to the World Health Organization, that's simply not true. Filters do not reduce the harmful effects of smoking. In fact, by giving smokers a false sense of safety, filters likely delay quit attempts and may actually increase smoking-related deaths. On a global scale, the effects go even further. The World Health Organization identifies tobacco companies as major contributors to plastic pollution, deforestation, and climate change. So here we can dig into the data locally. We can see the top 5 littered items on Santa Cruz City beaches from 2013 to 2024. And this is data collected by Save Our Shores volunteers. Cigarette butts are the #1 item by far. We picked up nearly 190,000 butts over that time period, much more than any type of litter. These data were collected over 981 cleanups. Collectively, the cost was over $1 million estimated, and nearly 17,000 volunteers participated in these efforts. So these numbers demonstrate that not only butts are a nuisance, but also a dominant source of beach pollution in our community that requires large amounts of funds and people capacity to keep our beaches clean and safe. Save Our Shores started doing beach cleanups in the 1980s. And in the 1990s, we started with active anti-litter, outreach, and prevention. And other groups, many of them represented here, have been very active on outreach initiatives over the years that focus specifically on cigarette butt litter. Groups have conducted pollution prevention outreach, school and community presentations, led countywide coalitions, done bilingual media campaigns, done storm drain markings, and public art, all aimed at reducing waste and raising awareness. And unfortunately, we have not seen the returns. Anti-litter outreach has been tried, but it has not been successful to the degree that we have hoped. Downstream solutions like trash cans and no smoking signs have not worked either. For example, here in this slide, in spite of the 4 garbage cans and 4 non-smoking signs located on this one block of Pacific Avenue, volunteers found 154 cigarette butts in 2023, and the following year in 2024, 139 butts in just one block. The infrastructure and outreach is there, but the litter still ends up on the ground and in our waterways. And here are some images of that outreach efforts that I was talking about. There have been a variety of advertising. There was a Spanish language billboard in Watsonville, a 7-minute documentary within an inch was produced and spread across social media. Butt receptacle efforts have also been strong, but unfortunately without much success. The city and Save Our Shores collaborated on bait takes, as you could see on the far right-hand corner, but the tanks weren't emptied, they were often vandalized, and they actually became gathering spots for smokers, even where smoking was not legally allowed. And a similar program launched by the city on the Santa Cruz Wharf had similar outcomes. The lighthouse receptacle tanks, as you see the top left-hand corner, they were designed to look like lighthouses, so nice and pretty, but were also vandalized. And then we have no smoking signs across different areas to talk about Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, as well as countywide efforts like the Pitchin Initiative and Tobacco Education Coalition. So as you can see, the list of outreach activities has been long. The impact on sales tax revenue with an ordinance like this is also a common concern. For that, we can look at the county and the flavored tobacco sales ban that the county enacted in 2019. After that ban was enacted, there was a modest 3% dip in tax revenue during the first 6 months. However, as consumer behavior adjusted, we saw a rebound with consistent double-digit increases. So consumer spending shifted rather than disappeared. It's also worth noting that the county currently has 76 tobacco retailers, and while the city of Santa Cruz has 48 identified in the map by district here. Now, in terms of actual tobacco use, cigarette smoking is steadily declining. Only 6% of adults reported smoking cigarettes, and among high school students, that number is even lower. We're seeing people move away from cigarettes as I diversify to other tobacco products. This means that a policy focused specifically on filtered cigarettes would affect a shrinking group of users, while at the same time, it would significantly reduce toxic litter in our parks, streets, and waterways, something the tobacco industry does not pay to clean up, leaving the burden on our city staff, agencies, and volunteers. And now I'll pass it on to Dr. Novotny.
Good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, thank you for allowing me to come and speak briefly. And Kay did a great job of presenting the environmental issues as well as the introduction to the economic issues, that there are costs to this most common waste product. The costs extend beyond the environmental costs, which I think you can imagine just as a result of surface abatement by the city departments, but also the volunteer time that's put in. It's recurrent. And these cleanups don't change the volume of tobacco product waste in an appreciable way. I think this is an important thing to realize, is that these are not one-time events. We've done some research in San Diego where we've repeatedly gone out and essentially sterilized a large area of San Diego, 60 city blocks or 60 census blocks, and go back in 6 months and it's the same amount of tobacco product waste that's there. So cleanups just don't work, and they are expensive. we've estimated some of the costs in different cities around the country, actually ranging from 3 million or so in San Diego to more than almost 20 million in Los Angeles. And these are costs of just the surface abatement. That is just sort of the sweeping up, the cleaning up. There are other costs that we don't know exactly yet. For instance, the cost of the environmental contamination through the chemicals as well as the plastics. And this is something that, there is research being done. We've been able to identify these chemicals and plastics in places where you would hopefully not find them, that is natural reserves. We have a natural reserve area, Kendall Frost, around Mission Bay. And we've been able to look at the chemistry and the plastic content of the sediment and the waters and the soils around it, and it's there. Now, we don't know what the cost of removing that is. What we do think the best approach to these cleanups actually is to prevent them from being necessary. Now, a ban on the sale of filtered cigarettes here, or filtered products here in San Diego, in Santa Cruz, will be a step, not the answer, but it's in a demonstrable leadership of a local environment, local community to make something happen. We've studied this stuff. We've been identifying the chemicals. We've identified the risks to all sorts of creatures, from subcellular to even humans, from the exposure to cigarette butt waste. And what's needed is action. And I want to tell you that I work with the World Health Organization. There's a treaty that's in place now that's considering this ban on plastic filters especially, but all filters, in its treaty implementation. And they're looking to Santa Cruz as an example of local action that can be done. And I don't think that can be underemphasized. It's something that the state has tried 3 times, and each time the legislation gets referred to a committee where it gets killed. There's a couple of countries that are thinking about doing this, Belgium and the Netherlands. But Santa Cruz keeps coming up in the conversations that are being held at the state level and at national level, and I hope internationally. Next 2 weeks from today, we're going to be at a World Conference on Tobacco Control. We have a special session on the issue of banning the filtered cigarettes, and Santa Cruz is going to be an example for us, we hope. So I want to encourage the consideration of this as an amazing leadership opportunity. And here in California, we've done a pretty good job on tobacco control. We've reduced the prevalence of smoking down to less than 10%. And it will take a little bit more effort to make it even more so. So this environmental approach, I think, is a special opportunity to link public health and the environment together because they all have a similar purpose, which is to make things better for our citizens at all levels. So thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you very much for your time and your very good work. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm going to present pretty briefly on the ordinance that's proposed. I should say it's the revisions to our current ordinance. So we already have a tobacco retailer licenses ordinance. And so the changes that we'll make are just to include the retailers of these tobacco products. And so the first change that is recommended or is proposed is to include the definition of cigarette and cigar from elsewhere in our municipal code, and to bring that into this tobacco retailer licenses. This is kind of an administrative thing, so just bear with me. So the next definitions, the important definitions that we'll be carrying over, are the partially inconsumable cigarette and partially inconsumable cigar definitions. And so you'll see that these are cigars or cigarettes that contain an embedded component part, commonly referred to or marketed as a filter that is intended to be consumed. Excuse me, I can't see what it says next to that. whether it is made of any material, including but not limited to plastic, cellulose acetate, other fibrous plastic material, or any other inorganic, organic, or biodegradable material. So it's quite broad in terms of the materials. The next proposed changes are super minor. You'll see that we're adding the word tobacco before paraphernalia, as well as a comma. Okay, and then this is our violation section. So currently, we already make it unlawful for someone to act as a tobacco retailer without a license. And so now it will be a violation of this chapter for any tobacco retailer or any of their agents or employees to sell or offer for sale or possess with the intent to sell or offer to sell the partially inconsumable cigarettes or partially inconsumable cigars. And then importantly, our enforcement mechanism, it is contingent on two other jurisdictions within the county aside from the city to approve a similar ordinance by January 1st, 2027. So effectively, as you've heard, the county has already passed a similar ordinance, and so we'd wait on one other jurisdiction to pass a similar ordinance, and then if that happens by January 1st, 2027, ours would go into effect. And so the reason we're giving until January 1st, 2027 is one, to get that group support, and then two, so that retailers do have time. It's not happening tomorrow. Okay, next steps. So June 24th would be the second reading. And then from 2025 to 2026, as I said, this wouldn't take effect until 2027. So in the meantime, there would be continuous business outreach and support to ease that transition. And then assuming, or if another jurisdiction does pass a similar ordinance, then ours would go into effect January 1st, 2027. And so our recommendation to the council is to introduce for publication this ordinance amending Chapter 6.07 tobacco retailer licenses to prohibit the sale of filtered tobacco products. We also recommend that the council directs staff to collaborate with the county and local stakeholders to develop and implement educational outreach for affected retailers, assisting them in this transition away from selling filtered tobacco products. Third, affirm the city's commitment to support staff efforts in collaborating with the county and local stakeholders to enhance public education efforts. And then lastly, to approve the CEQA determination, which is contained in the agenda report, and direct staff to file a CEQA notice of exemption. We've determined that this action is not a project under CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines sections. I won't name them all for you, but you'll see in the agenda report the relevant exemption sections. And now for questions.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Let me ask council members if they have questions or comments. Council member.
Can you give an update on the city of Capitola?
Yes.
Yes, I can answer that. So the city of Capitola recently unanimously passed to bring back an ordinance at a future date back in April of this year. So they're going to be exploring and doing some community engagement and then adopt a similar ordinance.
Further questions by council members? All right, what we would like to do at this time is open for the opportunity for folks who are with us today to make comment on the agenda item. And as I indicated earlier, I suspect there will be, do we have folks with their hand raised yet? We have some folks, so what we'll do is toggle back and forth between folks here and folks online, Good afternoon, sir, and welcome.
Hello, my name is James Ewing Whitman. The county meeting was postponed till 2:30, so here I am. You know, is Santa Cruz an island? Is Santa Cruz County an island? Can folks not get things shipped through the mail? Can they go to Felton or over the hill to buy these products? You know, we're dealing with a systemic, terrible example of capitalism. And the other side of capitalism is actually terrorism. So what kind of example is our capitalistic society presenting? You know, they do what they're doing. It's only based on 90-day returns, and people are just being killed all over the world. Now, how to educate people about littering? I don't quite know how to do that. How to enforce, like a littering law. How do you actually do that? It has to do with public engagement and people actually caring about what's going on. So I don't want to make any other, let's see, we've got 1:25, that's great. You know, there are a lot of toxins that we're dealing with in our environment. If anybody were to pull out a receipt, those are PFAs, those are forever chemicals that are very toxic to all mammals and all life at 4 parts per billion. The EPA is only off by a factor of 10,000 right there. So it's really simple to practice the scientific method in many ways. If you were to buy a Crystal Geyser gallon water container and you were to freeze that, and then you were to thaw it, the amount of plastic particulates just in that 1 gallon is crazy. People don't realize things like saran wrap and Teflon, you know, they're chemicals that are very harmful to all life. But yet we're focusing on something that is important, but it can be shipped in via Amazon. You can get it from over the hill. And so what are the other things going on? People might want to be aware of the black plastic that's in reheated food is some of the most toxic plastic going. But I mentioned the example about the clear plastic Crystal Geyser. It's actually kind of scary. So I think that this is really well-meaning, but I don't know if this is the best use of everybody's expertise. How's that?
Thank you, sir. We have a person online, so we'll be right with you, sir. We'll take the first person online. Good afternoon and welcome.
Yeah, hello. Hey, I want to mention Huntington Beach only bans cigarette smoking altogether at all its city beaches, adjacent beach areas, the city pier, Pier Plaza, and all city parks, including the use of electronic cigarettes or vaping. No filtered cigarette ban. With our poverty rate 240% higher, a homeless population 4 times higher by square miles and 10 times higher per capita, I urge you to always consider learning what a much better run city does, since we have relatively, I'd say, to crow about. Perhaps this is a bigger jurisdictional issue than the city should be doing on its own, not unlike the sugar tax, or perhaps the wrong way, not unlike the sugar tax. How's that lawsuit going anyway? It smacks of tyrannical central planning hubris, no surprise to me. I don't smoke, but when I did, I never ever littered. There are issues of individual freedom and punishing all for the acts of others. It's a bit like the soda straw ban, actually a tiny, tiny part of plastic waste, which actually the U.S. has greatly reduced its waste, but not the rest of the world. The garbage patch doesn't much come from America. An interesting factoid I read was a study published in JAMA of online flavored e-cigarette sales to minors that was banned by SB 793, which they studied and found that the internet purchase attempt success rate by minors actually went up after SB 793. Go figure. Anything's possible. It's quite disappointing hearing people don't consider littering an issue. Clearly, people are the problem here. I doubt you're going to get to quit cleaning up the streets from litter. Well, surprised me. Let's hear a real discussion whatsoever from the council about unintended consequences. And I suppose you do realize people, including tourists, can buy cigarettes by the carton outside the city. I'm going to take a liberty here and point out that the trans flag, is to the right of the American flag. It's in violation and disrespect of U.S. flag display protocol. Belongs all the way on the other side of the stage. Thanks.
Here, our next presenter, I'd like to make a quick comment as to procedure. For those of you that have not been to a city council meeting before, what we try to do here is through our behavior, model what we hope gets fed back the other way, which is to say, we are respectful. We give you the opportunity, because it is your right, to comment on items. What we do is we do ask you to be just as respectful of others who are going to testify today as you expect them to be respectful to you. So when you hear another person who disagrees with you, let's disagree without being disagreeable. So we thank you for that you would extend that courtesy to others. Thank you. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to the City Council meeting.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. My name is Monesh Chosen, and I've owned multiple retail locations across Bay Area, including San Francisco. As a responsible citizen, I am very, very concerned about cleanliness, litter abatement. We all should be. We are the United States of America. We are a very civilized society. But banning this product is not going to take the problem away. And that is because possession and consumption cannot be totally banned. We are a free country. Santa Cruz residents can drive across the city jurisdictions and purchase the product. And you have, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 12 million tourists coming into the city every year, and they can still carry that product with them. So the problem is not going to go away. So there are other ways of tackling the problem. And that is one of the examples in which I humbly propose. When I had a location in San Francisco, the city and county imposed a 20-cent per pack litter abatement fee on the sale of every pack of cigarettes sold in the city. And though those funds were utilized towards litter abatement, not just cigarette butts, but cleaning up the city streets as such. So as a retailer and as a community member, I would really appreciate if guys can look into that instead of, putting the whole product under the chopping block. But realistically speaking, it's not going to help. Cigarette butt litters, butts are not going to go away.
Very much. We'll take the first person online, Ms. Bush, or the next person rather online. Good afternoon, person online. Welcome to the council meeting. Person online, you got about a couple of seconds here.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, City Council member. My name is Sherry Dang. I have been a local business retailer for the last 33 years. I love our community. I love our environment. Thank God that I have a chance to live in this beautiful area. With that aside, when banning, please, I will ask three things. Number one, give me a chance to come back with our own presentation, with our own data, survey to debate everything your team has shown us so far. Any survey, any presentation, we can come back with our own data. Number two, we talked about freedom of choice. Our customer have a choice to buy legal products. Now, if we ban in our county, the tourists can bring cigarettes from other retailer or just walk outside of the county boundary. There are 480 retailer ready to sell cigarette. Why punish your local retailer who are having license, checking ID, and follow the law? Number two, if you can create a legal fee, we will collect that money and give us a chance to go out there and clean your street and clean the beach. And we will also clean all the trash as well, such as pizza box, such as any to-go product, candy bag. You talked about poison item. Is sugar poison? How is the sugar ban lawsuit going? Should we start a tobacco ban lawsuit as well? Please consider that. Give us a chance to work with the county. I am ready. I can be there with our presentation and do exactly what you did today in front of the public. Thank you so much for giving me a chance.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon. Welcome to council meeting.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and the council. My name is Jimmy Verk. I live in town. My kids go to town here, part of the community. I employ close to 25 people here in town. So this ban is going to affect them directly, right? The sales are going to take a hit and it's directly proportional. Sure, that's fine. But I'm not talking about how it is a serious problem. Yes, we get it. How we're going about it is what the question is. Now, I've heard a lot of comments here. What I haven't heard is how are you going to measure if you have been a success? Where is that KPI? You know, is there a 6-month, 3-month, 1-year window? Like we've seen all these data, so that's all good. That's one part of it. Then the day the ban goes in, I'll have somebody outside my store with a backpack. Hey, do you want to buy a pack of smokes? Right? That's that part of it. So it does promote the black marketing of it. Right now, we're controlling it. High school kids, they can't buy it. But somebody standing on the sidewalk, they don't care. They're just going to give the money and buy it. That's that part of it. Problems, there's a lot of problems. I mean, look at graffiti. That's a big problem in Santa Cruz, right? Should we ban aerosol cans? Mm-hmm. Right? So it's just how we're looking at it. So what we're asking for is let's sit down. Let's have a San Francisco did a cigarette litter abatement tax. $2.86 million is what they generated, you know, from 12 million packets. So rather than us losing the tax money for the city, we can come up with something and help. That's what the ask is. So we're not fighting on that this is wrong or right. We all understand, we all live in this community. How we're going about it is what's wrong. And that's where, you know, we want your help.
We have another person online. We'll take that person online. Good afternoon, person online. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and council members. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Jaime Rojas with the National Association of Tobacco Outlets, a trade group representing most of the retailers in the city of Santa Cruz. We want to thank the mayor and the council members who had the opportunity to meet with the retailers to hear the impacts this ban may have to our local businesses and the unintended consequences some have already spoke about. NATO and our members do not support the ordinance as written. When the Santa Cruz County gave its recent report and listing of most trash found in Santa Cruz beaches, it listed cigarette filters as number 4, while paper, plastics, and aluminum trash items were ranked higher in most trash found on these beaches. So why aren't they banned as well? It is already illegal to litter the beaches, and currently there's no or very little dollars for enforcement of this law or impactful education campaigns. So instead of banning products that does not guarantee cleaner beaches or visitors from continuing breaking the law, why not find alternative solutions? The ban only impacts local business owners and will not solve the litter problem. As mentioned before, back in 2009, the city and the county of San Francisco had a similar issue with litter and cigarette filters. They instead passed a litter abatement fee on cigarettes, designed to cover the costs associated with cleaning cigarette butts. It's been successful for 16 years, and just most recently in January, increased their fee to $1.75 per pack, a fee, not a tax. Let us look at doing the same thing here for the city of Santa Cruz, where those actually littering will have to pay for the consequences. The city may also consider expanding the litter abatement fee to other products, the top 3, like paper, plastic, and aluminum goods, to further find dollars to impact the litter issue and clean the beaches of Santa Cruz. We thank you for the consideration.
Well, thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Good afternoon, Mayor Keeley and members of the council. My name is Shane McKeithen, and I'm a proud Watson resident who deeply cares about the future of our local community. I strongly support item 32 to prohibit the sale of filtered tobacco products in the city of Santa Cruz. Last year, I worked closely with Supervisor Manu Koenig and Supervisor Cummings' team to help shape and advance the Santa Cruz County's ordinance on this very issue, a policy which passed with broad support because it struck the right balance protecting community health while providing a thoughtful transition for retailers. Now the city of Santa Cruz has the opportunity to build on that leadership. Your support for these changes can help establish a clear example of what local government can do when it prioritizes public health, environmental responsibility, community education, and regional collaboration. Your leadership will send a strong message to neighboring cities and counties that these issues require action and not delay. I commend the city's continued coordination with the county and urge you to approve this ordinance. Thank you for your time and continued leadership.
Thank you, sir. We have someone else online. We'll take that next person online. Good afternoon. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Good afternoon. I'm Lee with the California Fuels and Convenience Alliance. We represent fuel and convenience retailers throughout Santa Cruz who share your environmental concerns, but are concerned about this filter ban. This ban will devastate local businesses already facing economic challenges. These products represent significant revenue, and this approach threatens jobs and store closures, especially for independent retailers anchoring our economy. We do support protecting the environment, but this ban won't solve the problem. Customers will simply drive to neighboring cities for these legal products. Santa Cruz loses tax revenue while smoking and litter continue. Worse, restricting these legal products may drive demand toward unregulated alternatives that bypass our licensed retailers' safety protections and age verifications. Instead of punishing local businesses, let's work on proven solutions, addressing litter without devastating our economy. We request that the council, 1, reject this ban and partner with retailers on environmental solutions, 2, install disposable receptacles in education programs, and 3, implement targeted litter prevention. CFCA is committed to environmental solutions that support local businesses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, sir. That is quite a prop you have with you.
Yeah. My name is Taylor Lane. Thank you so much for considering this policy. This surfboard is made out of thousands of cigarette butts picked up off the beach, mainly here in Santa Cruz and across California. And we aren't affiliated with anyone other than ourselves, and this is a grassroots organization that's really about the fact that we've traveled the world and seen that everywhere has this issue, and someone has to stand up and do something about it. You know, for 8 years, we've gone to the state level, it hasn't worked, so we've taken the grassroots policy of trying to do something local. Someone somewhere has to do something, and the fact is that trying to tax something that inevitably is designed to kill people doesn't really look out for the benefit of our community, not alone to be said that the tax money that might be made is going to be spent to maybe even clean these things up. So, you know, as a duty to protect the Monterey Bay Sanctuary, I think we've really got to look at this thing as less as how does it look at the metric sheets in the budgeting for businesses that have empathy around trying to make it work, but that isn't about looking about the long-term health and the statement that needs to be made to protect such an incredible place like the Monterey Bay Sanctuary. This is a bold step. It's a robust piece of policy. There's a lot of legs to it. There's a lot of momentum. It can be done. Jurisdictions around the world and across California are waiting for someone to do something. And inevitably, if we don't do it here, I think we will have dropped the ball on this opportunity. But more importantly, it is a legacy piece that going forward will be about how others can look to protect natural areas, look out for the benefit of the larger community, not the incentive of a small group of financial power. I understand this will hurt, but how long has our environment been hurting? How long have we been going on picking up cigarette butts? And it will continue to go on until someone does something. So we hope that you guys please support this policy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Another person online? No. We do not. Then person in line, welcome. Good afternoon.
Thank you all so much. I know that you've been, the council has been hearing about this for many years and has invested a lot of time and effort. My name's Pfeiffer. I live on the west side of Santa Cruz. Yesterday when I was walking on the beach, I found 5 cigarette butts and I was like, this is just, you know, like further proof. And I understand that, you know, people may drive over the hill and buy things there, but that would create the awareness in their mind that maybe they shouldn't be dropping these on the ground, right? I think like not being able to access the product here already like creates awareness that this is a toxic product that shouldn't have a place in our environment, in our communities. And furthermore, like, you know, if we're spending millions of dollars to clear this up, like that's not what taxpayer money should be used for. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Anyone else online? Person in line, good afternoon and welcome.
All right.
Afternoon.
Thank you all for taking the time to address this issue today. My name is Sam Rupel. I am the Volunteer and Outreach Coordinator for Save Our Shores, so I run all of our beach cleanups. I was an amateur trash enthusiast before I became a professional. The first thing that I started noticing on my trash walks along the Santa Cruz cliffs and along the beaches was the sheer volume of these butts. My team of stewards and I run cleanups all around Monterey Bay nearly every weekend throughout the year. And these cigarette butts remain at the top of the leaderboard, cleanup after cleanup, just hundreds. We're finding them in varying states of decay, so they get harder and harder to recognize as a cigarette butt and harder to pick up out of our environment. In this way, litter abatement is not the answer. These collection boxes are not the answer. We've tried all of these things, and this is still the #1 item that we're collecting off of our beaches, our shores, out of our drains, along the roads that lead up to our rivers. It's all of our marine environment. And while our cleanups are fantastic education, and we're collecting pounds of trash at every cleanup that is out of our environment now, these are very much a tool and not a solution. We need to use this data to drive real change, and this is where we start. I'm really tired of picking up cigarette butts, so thank you for hearing us out today.
Thank you very much. Thanks to Save Our Shores. Good afternoon and welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, city staff. Thank you for your leadership here in Santa Cruz. My name is Sean Burns. I work with Save the Waves and the Santa Cruz World Surfing Reserve. I'm here to support prohibit the sale of filtered cigarette tobacco products in the city of Santa Cruz. As a lifelong resident of Santa Cruz and surfing for over 23 years here, I've seen firsthand how much cigarette butts find their way to the beach and into the ocean. It's saddening to see a beautiful ecosystem like we have here in Santa Cruz being trashed by such a chemically toxic product. I believe it is here in Santa Cruz where this policy can start a movement to the bigger picture for communities around the state to follow and look after their unique part of the ocean. With a marine sanctuary and a World Surfing Reserve, Santa Cruz is already internationally recognized as a leader in ocean protection. By prohibiting the sale of filtered tobacco products, we as a city can reduce the most commonly littered item worldwide, protect public health by not misleading consumers into believing that cigarette filters are safer, and also limit tobacco use and addiction, particularly among the youth. And lastly, we can also demonstrate leadership with the city's longstanding commitment to sustainability and public health, working alongside the county and other cities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Anyone online? Good afternoon and welcome. Ms. Bush, let's just do this. Just let me know when. We'll be good on that. Good afternoon, welcome.
Hi, my name is Erin Lowry. I'm speaking on behalf of the Coastal Watershed Council. And as stewards of the San Lorenzo River, our organization sees firsthand how cigarette butts pollute our beloved river, as well as city parks like the Santa Cruz River Walk. Additionally, we recognize that this proposed ban is highly consistent with the health in all policies, and the Coastal Watershed Council fully supports a ban on the sale of filtered tobacco products in Santa Cruz to protect the health of our water, our wildlife, and our people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor and councils. My name is Abraham Alarcon. I'm a local resident. I don't have a speech, but I want to talk to you as a local resident here. I'm a father of one. I have a dog. I'm an ocean person. I'm a sailor, surfer. We do experience a lot of cigarette butts on the beach. I'm a little neutral about where we stand on this rule, but education to people will be something that we need to do for them to understand that this is really bad, right? My dog has eaten cigarette butts. I've seen that before. My kid playing on the sand. Even when I go sailing in the ocean, you'll see them floating. So it is a problem that needs to be brought up to the council and the city to hopefully find a solution to this and help us understand a better way to have a better place in Santa Cruz and our community and our ecosystem as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Good afternoon and welcome. How's things at O'Neill Sea Odyssey these days?
It's wonderful.
Glad
Can't
to hear it.
complain so much. Mayor Keeley, City Council members, I'm Tracy Weiss. I'm the Executive Director with the O'Neill Sea Odyssey. And I'm here today to urge you to take time to support this proposed ordinance amendment to prohibit the sale of filtered tobacco products within the city limits. Every day I have the honor and the opportunity to introduce children to this ocean ecosystem and to watch them enjoy our beach day in and day out. But I also then get to see children picking up these cigarette butts. They are the byproducts. They are the ones cleaning up after us, and that is not a job that our children should be doing. I see the same thing. They are picking up around their school campuses. They are cleaning up our beaches. Now, these filters are not just ugly, they are toxic. As they continue to break down, they leach harmful chemicals into our natural world. They serve as a harmful output for not only our ocean, but for the children themselves. So please take a moment. These do not biodegrade. They do not go away. And banning these filters is a simple yet powerful statement towards protecting our marine ecosystem and our children. So thank you for your time and consideration today.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Thank you. My name is Chris Kogan. I'm a resident of Santa Cruz, live on the west side. Thank you, Mayor and council members, for all that you do and your leadership. I'm here today to request that you ban the sale of filtered tobacco products in our city. Right now, there are tens of thousands of cigarettes on our beaches and streets. Whose responsibility is it to pick these up? Whoever it is, it's not enough. It's not working. We need to stop the problem as far upstream as we possibly can. Filtered cigarettes provide no health benefit. The filters are a marketing tool, not a safety feature. Banning their sale is a practical step we can take to reduce pollution, protect marine ecosystems, and lower public cleanup costs. It's crazy that we are relying on nonprofit organizations and good people to clean up our beaches. Free them of this burden. We need to stop the pollution at the source, or as far as we can get to it. Here in Santa Cruz, we don't have the power to solve global systemic issues with a single ordinance. But we do have the power to be a global leader and make our community exactly how we want it. Let's take this step toward living in the future we want to see. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is George Leonard, and I'm a marine scientist that has worked on and in and under and around the Monterey Bay for 25 years. I have researched how plastics ends up in the ocean, the impact it has on marine wildlife, and the growing concern of plastics on human health. And so as a PhD trained marine scientist, that's why I support the policy today. But the truth is you don't need a PhD to do the math here. Only 6% of people in California smoke, and 94% of us clean up the mess. And that has to stop. So now you have a decision to make. Are you going to side with the industry that has spent the last century lying to the American public? An industry that has taken zero responsibility for the environmental damage that it causes? And perhaps most importantly, an industry that never, not once, has done the right thing for human or environmental health unless forced to do so by law? Or are you going to side with science, with data, with the environment, with marine wildlife, with children, with families, with health, with the medical community? And most importantly, are you going to side with common sense? Because at the end of the day, that's what this comes down to, common sense. So at a time when leadership is increasingly in short supply in this country, the 94% of us are asking you to be brave, to do the right thing, and to pass this
this policy. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Good afternoon. Welcome. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Corser. I'm a longtime resident on the west side of Santa Cruz, and I've spent my entire life picking up cigarette butts. And I feel like this could just be, if this proves to be some kind of wake-up call for banning filtered cigarette products, a wake-up call for the industry to somehow eliminate them, I think a small step like this is worth it. So I support it. Ban the butt. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your personal action on that. That's very kind of you to do that. Good afternoon and welcome. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here. My name is Rachel. I was born and raised here in Santa Cruz, and I've spent my entire career working in coastal conservation, particularly marine debris and plastic pollution. I've seen the firsthand impacts of things like cigarette butts on our marine environment. I've pulled them out of the stomachs of fish, the type of fish that we eat and consume as, individuals who consume that. And I think that that is pretty obvious to most of us, the impact on the marine environment. But the thing that we're not talking about as much is the way that the industry is going about this and how they're pushing the narrative onto the consumer. It's always about litter and the consumer's fault for littering these cigarette butts. There's this analogy that I've always loved, and it's called the bathtub analogy. And if you have a bathtub that is overflowing with water, you don't simply take a cup and bail out the bathwater, right? You want to turn off the tap on that. And focusing the blame on litter or, the amount of tax dollars that are going into it, shifting the money that is supporting the cleanup is really just bailing out that bathwater. But we have an opportunity here to turn off the tap on that by passing this ban. And I think that Santa Cruz has always been a place that has taken that initiative. And I'm really proud to be from this place because we've really set the precedent for a lot of environmental and human health movements. And I hope today that you consider passing this.
Thank you for being here. Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm here as a citizen, as a resident of Santa Cruz, and I would like to just highlight that in my time living in Santa Cruz, I have noticed something. So first, the beauty of the area and the important tourism economy of the area. So Santa Cruz is seen as a tourism destination for many reasons. One of them is not the cigarette filters. So it's actually the other way around. People come here to see the beauty, to see a healthy society, and right now you have the opportunity to highlight that. You have the opportunity to tell adjacent cities, adjacent counties that you care for public health and the environment and for the tourism economy that generates revenue, creates employment, and gives Santa Cruz the good reputation that it has. And now you have the opportunity in front of you to enhance that reputation, to be the leaders in this area, in the Central Coast, and to show that you care the way you have been showing us that you do care for public health and the environment, and continue to protect the Monterey Bay, which is a unique gem like very few in the world. So thanks.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Morgana. I'm here on behalf of the Surfrider Foundation, the Santa Cruz chapter. We're an environmental nonprofit dedicated to the protection and enjoyment of our oceans, waves, and beaches through a powerful network of over 200 chapters and clubs nationwide. Cigarette butts continue to be the #1 collected item at our beach and community cleanups, in Santa Cruz alone and across the country. In 2024, the Surfrider Foundation removed over 182,000 cigarette butts from beaches and public spaces. They continue to persist on our coastlines, sidewalks, parks, and in our storm drains. Through our Hold Onto Your Butt program, we've worked for years to reduce this litter, installing ash cans, handing out personal ashtrays, and running public education campaigns. But the problem persists because the source remains unchanged: plastic cigarette filters. These filters offer no proven health benefit, yet they're made of non-biodegradable plastic that leaches toxic chemicals into our waterways and currently and continues to harm our marine life. We commend the City of Santa Cruz for considering this ordinance. You may not please everyone, but this is a common sense step that reflects public will and environmental necessity. You will not be alone. Other communities are already looking to follow, and local leadership like yours can help drive broader policy change. Thank you for your time, and we urge you to vote yes.
Thank you very much. Before we hear from you, just one second. The record will reflect that Councilmember Golder has arrived at approximately 2:52. The council member is also the school principal of Bayview Elementary School and had duties related to her other job and is here now, so I want the record to reflect there. And she may, because she has arrived here in a timely manner, she can in fact vote on this item. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your work.
Mayor.
Good afternoon and welcome to the City Council meeting.
Hi, good afternoon, City Council members and Mayor Keeley. My name is Danny Maydon. I'm a resident of the city of Santa Cruz. I also work at the county in the public health department as a health educator. And there's just a couple of points that I'd like to address that were brought up earlier. Somebody mentioned people being able to buy filtered cigarettes online. I want to clarify that the California State Legislature actually just passed an assembly bill which holds online tobacco products to the same standard as local law. So if it's banned in Santa Cruz, or it's banned locally anywhere in California, it also cannot be delivered via an online portal. Additionally, someone asked, how will we know if the ban is effective? And I just wanted to ensure City Council that the public health staff have developed a pre and post evaluation written into their work plan to evaluate the success and efficacy of this filter ban. Lastly, I heard somebody mention people's right to choose and that being extended to their choice in smoking. But I am going to ask you or leave you with a question. Is cigarette smoking addiction really a choice? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to the City Council meeting.
Good afternoon. Thanks for listening to us and considering this. I'd like to start by saying that I've been in Seabright neighborhood for 28 years, wife, 2 kids. I recognize that the job that you guys do is difficult and the issues that you guys have are very complex, various parties, and you have to try to balance what's right for the greatest common good. And I think this one, in my opinion, is a little more straightforward. It's pretty clear that there's a very small portion of people that are causing the problem and a large number of people that are suffering the consequence. And that's not to mention the marine environment and the animals. This will take courage and leadership. And I am hopeful that you guys can muster the courage to do the right thing. With all of these efforts that we have around the environment, we know we're not solving the world's problem. When we go and do a beach cleanup and we remove 300 pounds of trash, that's not solving the problem, but it's a step in the right direction. And I would argue that this proposal, this ban, is a step in the right direction. It will make a statement. It will show people that it's possible. And hopefully, just hopefully, it will start moving us in that right direction. And I see some young council people, but some of the older ones, like myself, will remember that it was illegal.
Let me advise you. Very damn
I'm going downhill here. Right? When we were younger, you could smoke cigarettes on a commercial airline. And that to us today seems crazy, right? Like, how could that have been possible? And I would just say this is similar to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Trish Panilla. I'm part of Waste Free Santa Cruz, and I'm here to urge you to vote yes on the Ban the Butt initiative. I've personally picked up over 1,000 cigarette butts at beach cleanups and the recent pitch-in event in May. These filters are not just litter, they are toxic. They leach dangerous chemicals like lead, arsenic, and nicotine into our environment. They're threatening our beaches, ocean, and wildlife. They break down into microplastics, harming the marine environment and entering our food chain. Local taxpayers and nonprofits shoulder the burden of the cleanup with tobacco companies profiting. Passing this ordinance, Santa Cruz can lead the nation, protecting our health, our environment, and the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. Let's take this proactive step for a cleaner, safer, and healthier community. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome.
Hello, City Council. Mayor Keeley. I'm just a person that cleans up trash. I humbly come to you to say, please vote for this. It's more than symbolic, it's smart. Banning cigarettes, butts in public isn't just about health, it's about savings. Right? In our administration right now, DOGE is trying to cut waste. So if we cut waste, cigarette butts, San Francisco spends $7.4 million every year from cigarette waste. Nationwide, another $26 billion. Environmental damage from cigarette butts. We spend over $240 billion treating smoking-related illnesses. The opposition, they say they'll get us somewhere else. Oh, why do we ban something like that? We banned oil rigs so that catastrophes like Santa Barbara don't happen here. We don't have oil on our beaches. They say ban plastics. We have banned other plastic bags and straws. They say we're going to lose money. They'll make more money by selling other tobacco products like free leaf and papers, so maybe making more money. Santa Cruz can cut cost now by choosing clean streets, healthy lungs over toxic waste. Ecological psychology tells us people make better choices in better environments. So when we set a clean standard, we inspire others to rise to it. This is about protecting our environment, our budget. Let's act with integrity. Let's lead. Let's reinvest in things that truly matter. Our people, our health, our planet. Santa Cruz can continue to become a golden beacon.
Very much. Thank you. Anyone else with us in chambers this afternoon who wishes to testify on this matter? Ms. Bush, do we have anyone else online with their hand raised who would like to testify?
We do not, no.
We do not. The matter is back before the body. I will recognize the Vice Mayor who is with us remotely. Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mayor, and thank you to everybody who came and gave testimony this afternoon. As local leaders, we are often asked to make very tough decisions, and I know we take that really seriously. But for me, and I hope for all of you, we heard from the Seabright neighbor, we heard from Mr. George Leonard. We don't need a PhD for this. Today's decision is straightforward. It's not a difficult one for me. I recently had the privilege of attending the United Nations Ocean Conference, where I'm just returning from. And global leaders there spoke with clarity. We have to act boldly. We have to act now. We have to act locally. And it's these incremental actions that we take, incremental changes that we take at the local level that really does have global impacts. I heard that over and over again. And I think here in Santa Cruz and across our country, across our state, we don't have the luxury of waiting for others' leadership role. I think ignoring what's right in front of us has not been working, and solving the problem. Similar policies in other communities have seen success. I know Manhattan Beach has banned cigarettes and has seen a significant decrease in cigarette litter. And a couple of the speakers had mentioned San Francisco and their policy. But if you've recently been to San Francisco, you see cigarette litter everywhere. And we learned that it's about $7 million for cleanups. So, all of that said, I do recognize the concerns of our retailers. We're a business-friendly community. We're a business-friendly city. And I just realized that I didn't make my motion. I'll do that momentarily. But as part of this effort, this comprehensive effort, we are committing to supporting businesses in this transition. And we know that other policies like flavored tobacco, retailers have been able to find alternative products. Retailers have been able to bounce back within months. So I think this is the right policy, and I'm going to make my motion. I think the policy reflects our values. It's rooted in science, as was said. It's a comprehensive approach with community engagement, retailer engagement. It's a regional approach. And while I understand that it asks something of our retailers, I'm ready to stand with our retailers, with our environmental partners to make this shift happen. And, as we always do in the city of Santa Cruz, I ask that our council and our community continue to lead the way with courage and with vision. The long-term health of our community, the long-term health of our coastline is worth it. It's far more worth it than the convenience of a plastic filter, frankly. So my motion is to accept staff recommendation to introduce for publication an ordinance amending Chapter 6.07, and then direct staff to collaborate with County of Santa Cruz and local stakeholders to develop and implement educational outreach for affected retailers, and affirm the city's commitment to support staff efforts in collaborating with County Santa Cruz and local stakeholders to enhance public education efforts, and approve the CEQA determination contained in the agenda report.
There is a motion. Is there a second? Councilmember Golder seconds the motion. Madam Vice Mayor, you may open on your motion.
And I apologize. I already opened on my motion before I made the motion, so you heard my comments.
Very good. Thank you. Debate or discussion on the motion? Comment. Councilmember Bruner?
Thank you. This has been years in the process since I came on as a new council member, and since 2021, I just appreciate the process and the engagement and the outreach and the partners, especially at the county departments that have assisted in data collection. I think that is really key. I know that we have established on the city website a frequently or informational page, and I encourage everyone to visit and share. I don't know yet if all the frequently asked questions are posted, but they have been assembled and will be posted. And there's some really interesting data that's pretty impactful. And, it just really highlights that we have done the cleanup and the costs of the cleanup, and we have done the signage, and even there were examples given for one block of Pacific Avenue where smoking is not allowed, and still cigarette butts are found, not just on our beaches, but everywhere along our streets, our sidewalks, curbsides, and that all runs down to the storm drains. So the environmental impacts and the data that has been assembled is really important, and I encourage everyone to visit that. The data from flavored tobacco that was banned at the county, there was a decrease in the first several months in sales tax. However, it has bounced back up. There are other products if people choose to smoke. That is the freedom that was spoken about today. And I just think that I will be supporting this because we have to really prioritize the health of our environment and our public health and residents and visitors, and preserving this beautiful city and our natural environment. And really, the goal is to create awareness. This will not eliminate, as was stated, but it will be an impactful way to help contribute to this concern. And thank you. Thank you for everybody who's been along this process.
For the debate or discussion, Councilmember O'Hara is recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to begin by appreciating the significant effort that went into this ordinance and the strong advocacy we've heard from environmental organizations, public health partners, and members of the public. Your voices have helped elevate this issue, and I'm grateful for your work. Last week, I was in Oaxaca, walking through Monte Aban, an ancient Zapotec city founded 2,500 years ago and one of the oldest urban centers in Mesoamerica. Even in that remote and sacred place, I saw many discarded cigarette filters. That moment reminded me that the impacts of filtered tobacco products are not just local, they're global. These filters are among the most pervasive forms of plastic pollution, and they don't just litter our sidewalks and beaches. They make their way into our watersheds, our oceans, and places of deep cultural significance. Here in Santa Cruz, we don't need to travel far to witness the same impact. Our creeks, beaches, and open spaces are littered with filters and leach toxic chemicals and plastics into the environment. Banning filtered tobacco products is a necessary and meaningful step, and so I wholeheartedly support this ordinance. But if we stop at filters, we're ignoring what I believe is a far more urgent crisis, the explosion of vaping among our youth. This is no longer a niche trend, it's a public health emergency. I have listened to educators who witness pervasive vaping in our local middle and high schools, and perhaps even our elementary schools. I have listened to parents whose children started with flavor vapes at 13 and now struggle with nicotine addiction. I've read the data, and it is staggering. According to the CDC, over 2.1 million middle and high school students in the U.S. have used e-cigarettes in 2023. More than 85% of them reported using flavored products. These are our children. And what are they inhaling? Nicotine concentrations are far beyond what traditional cigarettes contain, along with the chemical stew that researchers are only beginning to understand the long-term impacts of. These are highly engineered addiction devices, and our kids are the target market. So let's be clear, the tobacco industry has pivoted. As public awareness and regulation caught up with the dangers of cigarettes, the industry responded, not by backing down, but by doubling down on new delivery systems, new flavors, and new lies. And they've been very effective. They've reached into our schools, our skate parks, and our social media feeds. We cannot pat ourselves on the back for addressing filters while allowing this epidemic to continue. I don't believe we can, in good conscience, call this a victory while our children are becoming addicted in record numbers. If we're going to be serious about public health, we need to confront this with the same courage we're applying to environmental harm. Some cities already have. We've already heard a little bit about this from public comment. Beverly Hills and Huntington Beach have banned the sale of all tobacco products, and I believe we need to consider that path here in Santa Cruz, not just to send a message, but to protect lives. And as we move forward, we need to understand that not just what we intend to accomplish, but what we actually accomplish. And that means tracking outcomes, listening to feedback, and adjusting policy as we learn. So I'd like to offer two friendly amendments, and hopefully Bonnie will pull those up. The first, to direct staff to develop and publish an annual performance review of the filtered tobacco ordinance once implemented. This report should include key performance indicators such as reductions in filtered tobacco litter in public spaces, retailer compliance and environment enforcement activity, youth tobacco and vape usage trends, community awareness and education efforts, and any identified impacts to local retailers. And two, refer the potential for a complete ban on tobacco product sales to the Health and All Policies Committee. The Health and All Policies Committee should incorporate this review into its FY 2026 work plan and return to council no later than May 2026 with a formal analysis and recommendations.
Let me ask the Vice Mayor, we're going to bring her back up on here so that I can communicate with her. Madam Vice Mayor, would you accept those as friendly amendments?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Those amendments are then included in the motion. Further debate or discussion on the motion? couple of comments. First of all, thank you to my colleagues for bringing this to us. Thank you for all of you who are here today. A couple of comments. First of all, I don't believe that our local retailers are our enemy. The enemy is the product and how the people who buy that product are disposing of it. So I want to thank the local retailers who make an investment in our community, who have small businesses, who hire people to work for them, who pay their taxes, and who are a benefit to our community overall. The people to whom you sell that product and who dispose of it improperly, that's who our problem is with, not with the local retailers. I see Dan Hafley is with us here. I want to point something out, and I did it on a different matter earlier this morning. My guess is you weren't here. In the 1980s, when the federal government repeatedly was threatening our community and communities up and down the coast of California with offshore oil drilling, Dan was, shall we say, much younger. And at that time, Dan was hired by a coalition of local governments to go from the northern part of the state down here to the Central Coast and further down, to get every city along the coast to adopt a model ordinance which said, we understand we can't prohibit offshore oil drilling, but what we can do is prohibit onshore support facilities of offshore oil drilling. There was a wall that was built of local ordinances from top to middle down towards the southern part of the state. And that was a very effective strategy. So people who say, gee, I don't know, maybe this is fit subject matter for state legislation or for federal legislation, but you're not really going to get anything done if you do it little town by little town over time. The evidence doesn't support that claim. The evidence supports the other claim, which is that you can, in fact, be effective at the local government level in dealing with those issues which are a challenge to your public health. So first, thank you, Dan. I do think that is a, yes, absolutely. So it does seem to me that, to paraphrase, we are a brick in the wall. And so we're going to try to build a wall, it seems to me, that our other colleagues in like-minded jurisdictions up and down the coast of California, we hope they do this. And this would be very helpful if they do. Dan and I also, this is the Dan Hafley show apparently today. Dan and I serve on the board of directors of the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary Foundation. And that body was founded to support the activities of the National Marine Sanctuary run by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. The Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary actually is misnamed. There's a reason it's named that, but it's misnamed because it goes from basically the Marin Headlands down to Morro Bay. Do I have that right, Dan? Morro Bay? Cambria? Cambria. Goes that far. And it has Monterey Bay in it, which is why they named it that, because it is one of the world's most renowned and appreciated concentrations of marine life, largely because of the canyon that runs through Monterey Bay. Settle in for a while because it's going to take a minute. My colleagues already know that. When I was in the legislature, I was encouraged by Dan and others to take a really good look at the marine laws, 1,100 miles long on the California coast, state jurisdiction out 3 miles. And what we found was that there was a serial killing species by species over time, because when California was first founded in the mid-1800s, and the Fish and Game Commission was included in that original constitution, is still there, that the challenge in the marine environment was managing abundance. There was not a problem. There were lots of fish. There were lots of schools of fish. There were a lot of marine mammals. And over 150 years, that lack of management, because of the original condition of things, led to a situation where the failure to manage placed great pressures and caused terrible things to happen in the water column in the state waters along the coast. So Dan and I worked with a lot of other folks, sport fishers, commercial fishers, the marine research institutions along Monterey Bay and throughout the coast, with visitors serving entities and others, and came up with the Marine Life Management Act, the Marine Life Protection Act, which treated the water column so that you didn't deal with a species, but you dealt with the water column. What is going on in this part of the coast in the water column? And by adopting those and imposing a highly regulatory environment supported by all of those disparate entities, we ended up being able, through evaluations done by the California Ocean Science Trust, and I will shamelessly mention that I authored that bill as well. They did a 10 and 20-year research report on what is happening in the water columns in the nearshore coastal waters at 3 miles out. It is demonstrably true. Evidence proves this, that it is a much healthier environment now than we had then. What we also found out from this is that the contemporary challenges in the nearshore coastal waters are all, not most of them, all of them man-made. And what is being discussed here is not an insignificant component part of what our challenge continues to be in the water column. I think that this measure accordingly is a thoughtful and appropriate step for us to take. It will become a more, I like what Supervisor McPherson did when this was at the Board of Supervisors, where he said, you know, if we're going to have the county of Santa Cruz do it, let's get a couple of the cities in on this as well. So we now have a couple of the cities that are on the coast. We have Capitola, and I suspect, if my powers of political prediction are any good at all, we're going to adopt this afternoon. And that then starts that wall. That starts the wall. And that lets us form a coherent strategy along the coast for dealing with this. One last observation. Nobody here claimed, not one person who testified, claimed this is going to fix the problem. Nobody said that. What they said is this is a very serious problem that calls out for action, and by doing this, we will then have an action which will allow us to evaluate the effectiveness of it. Now, the retailers, I suspect they communicated with all of us, and they're very thoughtful people who are local business people. And they made their point over and over and over again about, my goodness, we sell a legal product. Why should we be the ones who take the economic hit on this? Gee, people walk into our store all the time and they buy a pack of smokes, and when they're in there, they buy 3 other things. But what got them in the store was this. So it isn't just we're going to lose money on this, we're going to lose money on those related sales. They are not bad people because they understand their business, for God's sake. So I do think what we may want to do here, and I'm talking about 2 years from now, 3 years from now, it may be that as we evaluate the efficacy of this ordinance, we come to the conclusion that more or different needs to happen. But that's not what's in front of us today. This is in front of us today. And I believe we should adopt it. But in the same way that we change our approach to issues as facts on the ground change, I hope we would be open when we see the results of how we're doing to say, is this the best strategy? Do we need to use this plus more? Do we need to repeal this and do something else? Because we should always be in pursuit of what will actually solve problems. And I am willing to believe that this today is the best step to solving this problem here and now. Clerk will call the roll.
Council members Brenner?
Aye.
Newsom?
Aye.
Holder?
Aye.
O'Hara? Aye. Vice Mayor Kalentari Johnson?
Aye.
And Mayor Keeley.
Aye. Motion passes and so ordered. Thank you all very much for being here. We're going to take 5. We'll take a 5-minute recess.
Thank you.
I have to brag on it. Nobody else will brag on it. Santa Cruz City Council is back in session following our afternoon recess. A quorum is present, so we will take up our rest of our agenda. We are, in order to go forward, go backwards. We are on item 2. This is the Hans Christian Andersen Awards, and we will be dealing with that with various folks who are here, and I would like to recognize Councilmember O'Hara to begin this presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. We are pleased to have a special presentation from the Santa Cruz Sister Cities Committee to honor the participants of the Hans Christian Andersen Writing Contest. This contest provides a wonderful opportunity for both children and adults to showcase their creativity. I'm honored to introduce Carola Barton, Chair of the Sister Cities Committee, along with Isabel Tunser, Chair of the Subcommittee for our sister city of Sestri Levante, Riva Trigoso.
Good afternoon and welcome to the City Council meeting. Thank you for all your fine work. Good afternoon. The floor is yours.
Jermaine Hedden-Jones, Recreation Superintendent. I'd also like to introduce Anna Maria Treadwell, who is also an ex-official member for the Sister Cities Committee.
Hi, hello, City Council. I'm really excited to be here and be the newest ex-official member for the Sister Cities Committee. I'm hoping to bring some of my cultural experience as I was an exchange student in Italy when I was young, and just to continue supporting our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Isabel Tunser, so I'm the chair of the Sestri subcommittee. I'm very honored to be here today in front of you and to have our young writers here. Hopefully, all of them are here, but I'm not sure all of them are since it's summer break. So, but it's really our honor to be here. And especially since Tremaine is just back from Sestri Levante for an official visit. So I think he will tell us more about maybe his visit and the present from Sestri Levante.
Thank you.
So the mayor of Sestri Levante, Italy, wanted me to present this to you, Mr. Mayor. It's a certificate reaffirming our sister city relationship between the two cities of Sestri Levante, Italy, as well as Santa Cruz, California, as well as their version of the Hans Andersen Christian Writing Contest. It's the Andersen Festival. They have a packet of festival goodies for you. And so it's just for you.
If you would give those to the city clerk, that'd be great. Thank you very much. That's very kind.
Well, thank you for being here this afternoon. It gives me and the council great pleasure to recognize these talented and creative writers. We all have the privilege of reading your entries, and we are all incredibly proud of the work that you've done. We wish you the best of luck in the upcoming Sestri Levante competition. Now, without further delay, let's announce the winners. If you hear your name, come up to the front to receive a little award, and then stay in the front while other folks are being announced so we can take a picture at the end. All right, so for ages 6 through 10, the winners are, in third place, Lana Pringle, The Dragon and the Serpent. And an imaginative and original story with a satisfying resolution. In second place, Hunter Henton, The Shrinking Dragon, a creative and enjoyable story with a strong moral. In first place, Esme Boroquez, The Remarkable Mouse. A compelling mix of imaginative setting, a relatable hero who grows through courage and cleverness, and a heartwarming message about bravery and self-discovery. All right, for ages 11 through 17, the winners are, in third place, Noah Gallant, The Fire of 1365. A community-focused story that integrates themes of natural disasters and collective effort, offering an uplifting resolution. In second place, Liliana Hooper, A Lady of Bread. A charming and whimsical tale where anthropomorphized doe interacts with the verbal children in a delightful and creative way. In first place, Violet Willett, The Messenger. A deeply imaginative story with cosmic themes offering a unique take on the creation myths and the mysterious role of the messenger. Okay, and then for the 18 and up, the winners are, in third place, Devon's Moe. Story of Lan and Letta, or a cautionary tale to tell your children. Dark and eerie, full of imaginative horror and a deep emotional impact. In second place, Joanne Prebelich, Mr. Magic and His Fortune-Telling Chicken, a fun and imaginative story with humor and perseverance at its core. And in first place, Barbara Lawrence, The Tale of the Found Book. A story rich in imagination, creativity, and enjoyment. It balances magical elements with deep life lessons. So for those of you who are here, let's get together and take a picture.
Absolutely, there you go. Jermaine, come on up here and we'll take one from here. Come on, up here. How are you? Good. Congratulations, good work. There we go. All right. You got it? We're good? All right,
you're good.
Trey, here comes Trey.
It's nice to talk to you earlier. Uh-oh. Wonderful. Young man, congratulations. That's great. Way to go. So proud of you.
One more pick. All right, congratulations. Thank you once again to all the participants and to the Sister Cities Committee for their hard work. We are fortunate to have such an engaged community and so many talented writers here in Santa Cruz. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, thank you, Council Member. We are going to, Tremaine, it is now you're back up here again because this is going to be the outgoing Junior Guard delegation. So you're on again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to bring up Daniel Lawson-Thomas, also known as DC. He's a recreation supervisor for aquatics, beaches, and sports, which oversees the Junior Guards program, as well as Kaylee Roth, who organized the Biarritz delegation for this year. We have about 11 members who are going to be going from Santa Cruz to Biarritz and 2 chaperones.
How wonderful. Thank you for being here, my friends.
Thank you. I'm excited to announce that, like what Trey said, we are sending 9 to 11th graders on our 3rd official trip to Biarritz. And I want to introduce Kaylee.
Good afternoon.
Hi, I'm a parent representative for the Junior Guard Booster Club, and also helping out with the Biarritz subcommittee. And my daughter Zoe went to Biarritz with the Guards last year, and it was life-changing for her. She absolutely loved it. She's made lifelong friends and is still in communication with her host family there. This spring, the delegation has been taking French lessons in preparation for going. They've been meeting weekly and having some snippets of conversational French. They have notebooks that they're bringing along to help. They've raised actually quite a bit of money to help support the chaperones who are attending. And they are in communication with their host families and siblings so that they, have a relationship before they even head off. And many of them will be hosting the French Biarritz Guards when they come in August. So they're really excited. And I know that for Zoe, she loved to see how similar and different Biarritz is from Santa Cruz. And that was just eye-opening to see, that's kind of what cultural exchange is all about. Like, how are we common and how are we different and how does that make our world a better place? So we have some of the Biarritz exchange students here, and we wanted to introduce them.
Sure. Please introduce them. Come on forward.
My name is Jasmine Kang, and I'm really looking forward to spending time with another culture who doesn't speak English fluently. I mean, some people do, but and just really getting to meet new families from different cultures.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hi, my name's Kai Brick. I think I'm really looking forward to seeing how they differ from the way we train, because I know we have a certain way of doing things, and I want to see if their way is the same as our way. I just want to see their culture, right?
Have a safe trip, sir. Good afternoon. Hi.
My name is Anna Marie. I'm one of the instructors that is going along with the students, and I'm super excited to represent Santa Cruz City. I've been working for the city for the last 10 years and as a lifeguard for the last 9 years. I'm super proud of all our delegates and super excited to see how they do and get to know them better as we go on an amazing once-in-a-lifetime trip to represent the city.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. It's wonderful. We wish you the very best. And hope to see you in Japan. Okay, now we're going over to City Serve. We are now on agenda item number 4. This is City Serve Volunteer Awards. The volunteer coordinator is here. Am I correct? Do we have our... Oh, thank you. We keep it in your office. That's good. Okay, thank you, though. Okay, here we go. Yeah, thanks. Okay. Johnny? Well, this is our pleasure to have this as an agenda item, our City Serve Volunteer Awards. We place a great deal of value and appreciation on City Serve, and the work that you and your colleagues do around the city is both recognized and appreciated, and I would like to give you the floor.
Thank you,
First of all, thank you, Mayor Kelly. Thank you, city council members. We appreciate being here. We appreciate the recognition, and I think all the recognition goes to these amazing volunteers. So let's get started.
The City Serve program I'm Christine Thurston. I work at the Volunteer Center with Johnny Shimon. And the City Serve program is a partnership between the city and the Volunteer Center. Last year, in 2024, 300 people volunteered and contributed more than 18,000 volunteer hours to the city of Santa Cruz through many departments. The service is valued at over $728,000 in donated labor. The volunteers have a big check here today to represent that value. However, we all know that the true value of volunteer service is much more. Volunteers are advocates for the public and for the services provided by the city. They are the people that show up to help their neighbors and create a connected community. There's so much bad news and conflict in the world, and there's an immeasurable value to the community, to our whole community, when people come together for a common good. So thank you to the city and the council for investing in the volunteer programs and all the volunteers that show up every day. For the volunteers here that are just being honored today, the outstanding volunteers for 2024, Johnny will read their name and they'll come on up and get your award, and Mayor Keeley will read a statement. It's fine.
So how we will, first of all, Ms. Thurston, thank you very much. Thanks to both of you so much. How we would like to do this, if it's all right, is I will be recognizing individual council members who will be saying something with regard to the award recipients. And so how I'm going to start that is to go to Council Member Bruner for the first presentation.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for being here. The first City Serve volunteer I would like to call up, if you're here, Monica Piliage. Monica Piliage and the Friends of Poganip exemplify what it means to be outstanding volunteers. Monica saw a need for litter removal along hiking trails and spent months working with City Serve and the Parks Department to create a very thoughtful, well-organized, and consistent volunteer project. She brings a strong sense of responsibility, clear communication, and respect for city protocols, balancing environmental stewardship with sensitivity to complex issues. Her group not only removes large volumes of litter, but also provides valuable mapping support that helps city staff coordinate efforts more efficiently. Their commitment, reliability, and positive impact make them an essential part of our community partnerships, and Monica is the leader that makes it all possible. Thank you so much for your service to our community.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Newsom.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to call up Laura Jones.
Laura is not present. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll still talk about Laura. Laura has been a consistent volunteer since the Friends of Poganip cleanup began in August of 2024. Laura has now taken on a leadership role, leading small groups independently during the events, which help cover more ground and remove more litter from the park. Laura is a great communicator and brings a positive attitude and joy to the group, and she welcomes everyone to the team, including youth and seniors and all of our volunteers in between. So just thank you for your service and for all that you do to our community, Laura. Thank you.
Laura is out ill today, so I'll make sure she gets her award. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is Amy Chavez in the house?
No, sir.
Okay, well, if she was, we would say, Amy is a passionate volunteer at the Felton Branch Library. She is serious about connecting our community of adults and with developmental differences and bringing joy to this community. Amy always goes the extra mile by planning projects, prepping crafts, gathering resources, reaching out to folks to join our activities. Thanks to Amy's dedication, we now have a thriving group of regulars who come as individuals with caregivers and families, as well as whole classrooms. Amy is a powerhouse of enthusiasm and positivity who is a delight to work with and brings sunshine to our community. She certainly deserves this award. Pass our thanks and congratulations on to Ms. Chavez.
Thank you.
Councilmember O'Hara.
Thank you, Mayor. Is Jack McCahill here?
Jax is not here. I'd like to say Jax is one of our Youth Serve members, and he was able to come to every single one of our Youth Serve / City Serve events and activities. Did an amazing job. I love working with the youth, so he's not able to be here. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm still going to read this as well, and I appreciate those comments. Jack is a dedicated young volunteer with City Serve and the Volunteer Center. He spent his summer vacation giving back to the community. He is a hardworking volunteer and a great example to other youth in the program. Jack is always positive, and his kind demeanor was appreciated by city staff and his fellow volunteers. He showed great leadership and communication skills and exemplifies what we mean when we say the future is bright. Thank you for your great service to our community and to the City Serve program.
And Councilmember Golder.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to thank and acknowledge the Grant Street Beautification Team. Lisa Bates, Alejandro Duarte, and Joshua Padilla. Are you here? Wonderful. Come on up. Thank you. Thank you so much. So this team contributes to the upkeep at Grant Street Park through the partnership with local special education programs, blending vocational skill building with public service. Their contributions enhance the condition and the playability of the park's many areas and common spaces, aligning with the department's goals for accessible, high-quality neighborhood parks. This team demonstrates a strong work ethic and a genuine pride they take in giving back to their community. Their positive attitude, willingness to learn and take direction make them stand out as dependable and valued members of our volunteer team. More than just completing tasks, they build a sense of inclusion and purpose that embodies the spirit of City Serve and the values of the Parks and Recreation Department. Thank you so much for your great services to our community and to the City Serve program.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Alejandro.
Well, you provide, the folks who were just here, you provide your volunteer work in Councilmember Triguero's district. She's under the weather today and not here, but I happen to live in her district, which is to say in your hood, and you do a very, very good job. Thank you so much for that. The Civic Auditorium Volunteer Ushers. There we go. The Civic Auditorium event volunteers help fulfill a key role in supporting the venue's mission of, quote, enriching the quality of life for the community through a diverse schedule of events. Volunteers supported more than 15 events over the past year, most notably the Santa Cruz Symphony volunteers, who form an integral part of bringing cultural events to our community. This dedicated group of volunteers create a welcoming environment, assisting with seating and providing support during events to maintain safety and smooth operations. Their efforts exemplify their exceptional dedication and make them an invaluable part of our civic auditorium. Thank you. God love you all. Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you guys so much. I'd just like to say something about this civic auditorium. We did acknowledge our volunteers, but I would also like to acknowledge our supervisor there, Miss Shannon Toombs. Where are you at, Shannon? Shannon does an amazing job there at the Civic, her and Jason. Their communication is amazing. They are one of the first, when I started working here a few years back, one of the first departments that I was able really to work with closely, and they've just been amazing when it came to our partnership and the communication. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, Shannon.
Thank you all. We are a stronger, better community for your volunteer participation. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor.
Of course. Good to see you all. Thank you. We do not feel compelled to remain. If you wish to live normal life, please. Thank you very much. We are on item 35.1.1. This is fiscal year 2026 proposed budget adoption. We have our outstanding finance director supported by her outstanding team. And we will, no hurry, we're good. Ms. Cabell, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I would grab that check that says $700,000. Who knows what's going to happen with that? Thank you very much. Ms. Cabell, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Elizabeth Cabell, Finance Director, and I'm here with Emily Burton as well as lots of city staff to adopt the 2026 budget. And so a little bit of background how we got here. The proposed budget was posted to the city website on May 16th. We held a public webinar on May 20th, and the budget hearings were held on May 27th and 28th. During these hearings, staff presented and discussed the general fund, which I'm very pleased to say we are presenting as balanced without any borrowing from other funds, any debt service, nothing like that, no dipping into reserves. And the enterprise funds and the capital investment program were presented on the second day of hearings. During those hearings, there were 3 items that you asked us to come back with today for additional discussion. Cost recovery was one of them. We really strive to get to 100% cost recovery, and in most cases, and to reflect the full cost of the service. Our most recent study, which was completed this fiscal year, shows us getting very close to that 100%. And to measure that progress, the adopted budget will reflect an additional goal for the finance department that states aid city council decision-making by providing a comprehensive list of fees across the city that includes information on the degree to which they fully recover costs. So we expect to bring this analysis back to council probably in the February timeframe when we're bringing the mid-year back. So we'll have that for all city fees. Another topic that was discussed during the hearings is median beautification. And there are really 2 parts of this. The ongoing maintenance of the medians is part of it, and the other piece is the capital investment program as far as doing things to improve the condition, appearance, and function of the medians. The 2026 budget has $150,000 dedicated to median operations and maintenance. That's already in the budget. This includes services such as litter removal, weed abatement, and general upkeep. This is part of what we're calling the citywide median operations and maintenance enhancement plan. And staff will bring an update to council before the end of the calendar year that will include some of the capital pieces of it, options for median beautification with associated costs, and suggestions for funding. So that will be coming back before the end of the calendar year. The other item was the Ocean Street beautification project. This is focused on the Ocean Street gateway into the city from Highway 17. And on June 24th, so the last council meeting of the fiscal year, staff is bringing an update that will present concepts for the landscaping and public art at this intersection. The project is specifically focused on the 2 landscape areas on either side of Ocean Street at the intersection of Highway 17 and the center median. And this is a project that involves many departments throughout the city, public works, planning, parks and rec, economic development, and housing. And so on June 24th, there'll be additional information about the update on that project, including public engagement efforts, options, costs, and next steps for this project. At the proposed budget, when we presented at the budget hearings on May 27th and 28th, we had a total citywide budget of $533 million. Today, when we bring the adopted, pretty close, $534 million. No changes in the general fund. Most of this are cleanup items that we needed to do, so pretty much bringing exactly what we had on the 27th and 28th to you today. The item that is item 35.2 on the agenda is the changes to the personnel complement, as well as the class and compensation plans. So those are listed in that resolution. They were all talked about as far as the enterprise presentation that was on the 28th. There are no new positions or changes in the operating general fund. There are some cleanup things, some ins and outs and things like that, but no new positions for the operating general fund. So our recommendation is to adopt the fiscal year 2026 budget, including the capital investment program, effective July 1 of 2025, and to approve the CIP project exclusions from the public art transfer calculation for fiscal year 26. Also to accept the Water Commission's recommendation regarding the Water Department's fiscal year 26 operating and capital budget. And then related to item 35.2 is to adopt the changes and amendments to the personnel complement and the classification and compensation plans. So staff is here to answer any questions that you may have.
Ms. Cabell, thank you very much, and many thanks to Ms. Burton and others on your staff for their fine work and the responses back to council members between when we started this and today's hearing. Thank you very much for that. Let me ask if there are questions or comments by members. I want to make sure that, would you put that back up? Back one. Back one more. There we go. Thank you. So I appreciate your characterization of the citywide median beautification, but I'm going to say it in different words. I think that it is highly unsafe and ridiculous for us to allow people to panhandle on medians. It is dangerous to them. It is dangerous to motorists. It is dangerous to pedestrians. It is dangerous to bicycle riders. It is dangerous. So my understanding of what we're doing there, it may beautify it, but it is also designed in essence so that people will not be able to do that. It is not a good idea for them or anybody else, so that we are clear what beautification means there from my perspective anyway. Mike, are we tracking each other?
We are.
Very
Exactly,
good.
yes.
Thank you. Are there further questions or comments? I would want to underscore something because there was at least one publicized reference to our initial budget. The Department of Finance and the city manager and all of the department heads and our city employees worked together to develop the first cut at the city manager's proposed budget. When the city manager and all of those parties do that, on a year that begins on July 1st, 2025 and ends June 30th, 2026, you're making those initial calculations probably in December and January about what it's going to look like 6 to 18 months from then. And you use the best data you can. And so when the city manager released his draft budget, it was balanced by doing some borrowing based on the best information at the time. Since release of that, we have 1 quarter more accurate information on sales tax, transient occupancy tax, the property tax, which is due twice a year, and now we have a much more accurate way of predicting because we are closer and have greater information to what is more likely with regard to our revenue and expenditures. And so the budget that is in front of us now for our final adoption is a budget which is absolutely balanced without any borrowing from any fund, reserve or otherwise. And that is very important because the federal government can deficit spend because it controls, it has influence over both monetary and fiscal policy. We only control fiscal policy at the local government level. And so we have a tighter box in which we need to fit our policies. And I want to thank you, Ms. Cabell, and Ms. Burton, and the others the department heads and the employees of our government and the city manager and the city manager's staff for bringing us today a responsive budget that incorporates the thoughts and opinions of council members and the public during this period of time between the introduction and the adoption. And thank you, Mr. City Manager, for bringing us what is truly a balanced budget. Are there further questions or comments? Is there anyone with us today who wishes to provide testimony? Is there anyone online who wishes to do so? We will hear from the person online. Thank you, person online, for being here.
Okay, thanks. Hey, there's a class of people called intelligentsia or intellectuals who may live in echo chambers, who deal in and pontificate their ideas, who think they are superior beings who know better than the distributive collective wisdom of all the people, who, for instance, don't trust the distributive collective free market and individual decision-making between producers and consumers, but must regulate every detail according to their own theories, principles, and politics. They are not engineers or doctors who have to deal with the unchangeable concrete real-world realities or the consequences of their decisions like engineers have to. They migrate instead to jobs like at USCSC or education or the government bureaucracy to profess their unproven theories where they never face the consequences of their ideas or face competition, and it's someone else that always pays for those mistakes. Maybe that's why the utilities cost so much more here, and that's why the total proposed city budget is higher than Huntington Beach's for 25-26, a city 3 times as large at 188,000, and where here the cost per capita is to be then 8,000 per year per capita here compared to theirs at 2,800, which some public and mostly taxpayers somewhere pays for. Silly me, somehow I think the cost of government has mostly to do with the government itself and the intellectuals who deal their ideas, don't you think? It's not really possible to dissect, despite affirmations of transparency, exactly where the money comes from or goes, such as miscellaneous revenue. I'd like to see different pie charts. For instance, I missed any breakout of how much exactly you spend on benefits for illegals and how much you spend on DEI. Recently, the Supreme Court weighed in 9-zip, even including the leftist diversity appointees in the court, stating DEI discrimination against whites or anyone else is, surprise, surprise, plain old discrimination. You could probably cut some fat positions there, as well as trash health and all policies and any DEI code you've enacted since, as the city surely has been suffering the inevitable resulting mediocrity and thus lack of efficiency and smarter decision-making leading to higher costs due to those policies. I'd cite living wage and union preference as also leading to higher costs. Things like rent control, which has never proven to increase affordability, or building more affordable housing, or living wages, which eliminates entry-level jobs where, surprise, unbelievably, you're now bribing employers with 10 grand to hire apprentices because they aren't worth the required starting salaries. Both are examples of the intelligentsia's superior being self-image showing their distrust of distributed free market intelligence. As far as the nanny welfare state here, a recent Rutgers study found giving people money, a la universal basic income, resulted in those people working less hours and using the money to increase their leisure time. Once again, we are treated to projections of continuous declines in reserves, a budget that, again, gasp again, that I read, plans on running a deficit with no real explanation of this mysterious systemic cause. Whatever could it be? Thanks.
Well, thank you. Anyone else online? Okay. Having served in my poor colleagues, in 4 different elective offices in 3 different layers of government, you have the experience is the experience. What I find absolutely reassuring in sort of in finishing my work life in a small human scale government is that there are really a lot of benefits of working in a small human scale government. Having worked at the county and state level, boy, it gets, it is beyond human scale in a very big hurry. And I think one of the advantages of our city is people come to work here, they by and large dig in. People who could go other places fall in love with the community, and then they fall in love with the public service within their their span, whether it's in parks or public works, wherever it happens to be. And I think the work that has been done between labor and management over the last couple of years here in this city has engendered a spirit of cooperation, and we are in this together. We can have principal disagreements, we can disagree, but we can do it without being disagreeable. And we are managing, I believe, towards the same outcomes. A healthier community, a more robust economy, a more just community, a community where people can, in fact, both live and work, but that is in pursuit of a more perfect city. It is always the case. We will be working towards a more perfect city every single year, and I want to thank you for helping us get closer to that this year. The clerk will call the roll.
We don't have a motion, do we?
No. I'll move the staff recommendation for item 35.1.
I'll second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmembers Brunner,
Aye.
Newsom,
Aye.
Holder,
Aye.
O'Hara,
Aye.
and Mayor Keeley.
Aye. Motion passes and so ordered. We are on item 35.2.1. You have already opened on that. Let me ask if members have questions or comments. Seeing, hearing none. Anyone with us in public? Seeing, hearing none. Anyone online? Matters back before the body. Pleasure of the body.
I'll move item 35.2, staff recommendation.
Motion by Golder, second by O'Hara. Debate or discussion?
One quick comment.
Please.
Thank you. I also want to express some appreciation, a lot of appreciation for the effort, all the effort of staff that's here today as well, including all of the folks who work in each department. I did have one observation on what was included in today's agenda packet versus what was in our budget hearing. I found really powerful the report outs and the letters of advocacy and the recommendations of the advisory bodies. And the vast majority of them met before our public hearing. And I think it would be really helpful in the future, and I don't know if this is out of order or not, to have that as part of our budget hearings, because it was hard for me to reconcile the distinction between what we heard during the budget hearing and what was included from the advisory bodies. So if at all possible.
Remember, why don't we do this?
Yeah.
I think that's a very thoughtful observation. I think the city manager hears it. I think the finance director hears it. I think we all agree with that. So if it's okay with you, can we leave it there? They will, in fact, respond to that. Is that all right, rather than amending this item?
Oh, yeah, no, I don't need to amend the item. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, thank you. I think that was a thoughtful comment. Further direction? Further debate and discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmembers Brunner,
Aye.
Newsom,
Aye.
Holder,
Aye.
O'Hara,
Aye.
and Mayor Keeley.
Aye. Motion passes and so ordered. Thank you all very much. Excellent work. Very, very good. Is there further business to come before us, Madam Clerk? Further business to come before us, City Attorney?
We have none.
Councilmember Brunner moves and Councilmember O'Hara seconds that we will stand adjourned, non-debatable. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Wow, got a demotion.
We're adjourned.
Keeping us on our toes.
That's right.
Boy.
There is pizza in the back. You're welcome.